Chapter 663. There was no outsider in the reception room. There was only a nice table and several stools. On the table, there was a wine gourd and several delicate wine glasses. "Brother, please have a drink. I'm busy outside." Chun Jeti apologized and walked out of the reception room. The big man was Wu Gang, who had just come to the mortal world from the Moon Palace. His ill-fitting clothes were directly taken from a bodyguard on a cruise ship in the high seas. As for the situation in the human world, Wu Gang just found some drunkards and used some tricks to learn about it. Hey, the human world is not like what my elder sister said. The human tribe is cunning. Don't be careful. Look, I have just arrived, but I directly invite you to drink wine. Hey, is it possible that my aura makes these guys of the human tribe feel inferior? Well, it must be so. Wu Gang touched his face and couldn't help muttering to himself. Brother Chun, that big man is not a good person. Why did you put him in the reception room? Wu Yang asked softly. Keep your voice down. I certainly know that this big man is not a good person. There will be a good show later. Chun Jeti whispered with a smile. Seeing that the clinic was not busy, he walked into the central control room of Bugyaku with Wu Yang. He turned on the monitor screen and directly saw Wu Gang in the reception room. Haha, Brother Chun, this big man is so narcissistic. He is ashamed of himself. He doesn't even look at his appearance. Wu Yang said with a smile. At this time, Wu Gang had taken off his coat. His muscles, which even made the world bodybuilding champion feel ashamed of himself, were exposed. Chun Jeti and Wu Yang widened their eyes. This guy is really strong. However, Wu Gang's expression made the two men's faces droop. Wine glasses. How can you drink wine with such small wine glasses? But this set of wine glasses is very delicate. It is useless to put them here. Let me take them away and give them to my elder sister. Wu Gang shamelessly put the wine glasses into his storage bag. Chun Jeti and Wu Yang did not say anything. They had seen this trick many times from their elder brother Guopai. Naturally, they were not surprised. Mind reading Immortal Monarch's wine. Sigh. It was a great pleasure to be able to drink such fine wine in the heavenly court back then. If this guy had not taken a fancy to you back then, Kong Xian and I would not have been able to drink such fine wine. Wu Gang said in a low voice. He picked up the wine gourd and took a big gulp. The taste was really great. Brother Chun, is it really the wine left by the owner? Wu Yang licked his lips and asked. It's the real deal. The wine that the tavern master gave us was blended. The wine in the gourd was not blended. I've only tasted it once, and I've never tasted it again. Chun Jeti swallowed his saliva and said, Brother Chun, why did you give it to that big guy? Wu Yang asked confusedly. Give it to him, of course. Our elder brothers are not in Bugyaku. We are no match for this big guy. I'll put some drugs in the wine. We will see a good show later. Chun Jeti said with a smirk, Drink it up. You'd better drink it up. After that, I will deal with you. Chun Jeti looked at Wu Gang drinking the wine and gritted his teeth. He could not help thinking of what Guopai had told him before he left. Emperor Jia, you know a little about my identity. If someone comes to the medical center to cause trouble, remember not to fight them head-on. I have a gourd of good wine in the reception room. I have added something to the wine. As long as he can drink it, everything else will be easy, Guopao said with a smile on his face. Elder brother, if he is really a master like you said, we can't clean up the mess even if we make him drunk. Chun Jeti asked in a low voice. Tie him up with this rope. This rope is called the Immortal Tying Rope. Although it is not the same as the one used by Lord Latsu, it can trap several masters in the gold core stage in the human world. Guopai gave Chun Jeti some incantations to use the Immortal Tying Rope, and then he left Bugyaku. Brother Chun, that big guy drank so much. Why didn't he faint? Wu Yang asked in a low voice. Then let me ask you, is it the same to give drugs to an elephant or to a chick? Since the owner said that the wine was drugged, let's wait and see. Hee. Chun Jeti said with a smile. About 10 minutes later, Wu Yang was amazed by how much wine was in the gourd. The big guy drank so much, and there was still some left. Chun Jeti was a little anxious. Why didn't the big guy fall down? When Chun Jeti was about to lose his patience, Wu Gang stood up slowly. However, when Wu Gang just stood up, an ominous premonition appeared in his mind. When Wu Gang wanted to say something, He directly lay on the ground. Bang! The sound of Wu Gang falling to the ground could be heard by the whole consultation hall of Bugyaku. Emperor Jia, the sound came from the reception room just now. Is there anything wrong? Chao Qianquan asked directly through the walkie-talkie. It's all right. You do your thing. Just now, Wu Yang and I fired cannon. It was a little loud. Chun Jiadi said with a smile. Chao Qianquan didn't say much. He went to do his own thing. Don't be in a daze. Let's go and see that big guy. Hee. Chun Jiadi said and ran quickly to the reception room. Wu Yang followed him. Wu Yang, get the big guy up so that I could tie him up. Chun Jiadi said in a low voice. Wu Yang said, okay, and ran to Wu Gang himself. He tried many ways to pull Wu Gang up. However, he was tired and sweaty, but he still didn't get Wu Gang up. Brother Chun, this guy is too heavy. I can't get him up. Wu Yang panted and said, let me do it. Chun Jiadi said. He rolled up his sleeves and began to pull Wu Gang. However, he didn't get Wu Gang up after trying many ways. Brother Chun, let's ask someone to help us. Wu Yang said in a low voice. No need. We have a lot of fun things in the reception room. Brother Chun will let you see it today. I don't believe that I can't handle a drunk guy. After saying that, Chun Jiadi walked to the front of the table. After patting the four corners of the table, the entire reception room changed. It was no longer a reception room. It was simply an execution ground. Chun Jiadi hung Wu Gang up with a chain and then tied him up tightly with a bundling rope. After finishing these things, Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang were sweating all over. At this time, Wu Gang slowly opened his eyes. Damn it! How dare you do this to me? Mind reading Immortal. Is this how you treat your guests? Wu Gang said loudly. At this time, Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang, who had just rested, came to Wu Gang's side. You are tied up, but you still don't behave. Chun Jiadi found a wooden stick as thick as an egg from a pile of torture instruments and hit Wu Gang. Brother Chun, don't break this big guy. Although he looks strong, many people nowadays are just like wax heads. They look good, but they are useless. When Chun Jiadi hit Wu Gang with a stick, Wu Gang didn't feel anything. However, Wu Yang's words made Wu Gang's face turn red. Wu Gang, one of the three great generals of the heavenly court, has fallen into such a situation today. I will break the rope in front of me first, and then let these two little kids play with it. Wu Gang thought and tried hard, but there was no movement at all. Chen Qingyuan, damn you. You gave the bundling rope to these two little kids and tied me up. Chapter 664. Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang looked at each other. Chen Qingyuan, who is this big guy scolding? We tied you up. Why are you scolding Chen Qingyuan? Chen Qingyuan is really innocent. This guy is very strong. His muscles are definitely not made by taking medicine. I can't hurt him, Chun Jiadi said and hit Wu Gang's stomach hard again. Tell me, what do you want to do in our clinic? You came to the right place to make trouble. Bugyaku is not a good place. How dare you come here to make trouble? Chun Jiadi looked at Wu Gang and asked loudly. Boy, you dare to scold me again. Do you know who I am? Wu Gang looked at Chun Jiadi and roared. Chun Jiadi couldn't help but take a step back because of the murderous look in his eyes. Who do you think you are? I don't care who you are. You are tied up, but you are still so arrogant. Just stay here and wait for the boss to come back. Chun Jiadi said loudly. Wu Yang, there is nothing wrong in Bugyaku. You keep an eye on him. I will go to the front to help. If there is anything, we can contact each other through the walkie-talkie. Chun Jiadi said and walked out of the reception room. Wu Yang nodded. Although the big guy was very scary, he was tied up, he was not afraid of him. Seeing Chun Jiadi go out and the little guy called Wu Yang in front of him, Wu Gang began to think. This little guy seems to be better than the one just now. I will let him help me untie the fairy-tied rope first, and then I will deal with him slowly. Wu Yang, come here. I have something to tell you. Wu Gang thought for a while and looked at Wu Yang, who was playing with his mobile phone, and said with a smile, What's the matter? If you want to drink water, I can get some for you. If you want to go to the toilet, I can't help you. Wu Yang looked at Wu Gang and said softly, Nothing. Let's talk. This time I really want to find someone in the clinic. I am looking for your boss. We're good friends. I am also good friends with your boss's wife. Wu Gang said with an expression that he thought was harmless. Then what's your name? Wu Yang asked with a smile. However, he had already begun to plan in his heart. He didn't know who this guy was, but since he had nothing to do, it wouldn't be bad to chat with this big guy. What's my name? Listen carefully. Don't be afraid and don't be nervous. Since you are Chunqing Yuan's man, you should know something about us. My name is Wu Gang. If you tell me, I will be your ancestor. Wu Gang said proudly. Wu Gang, my ancestor? Haha, you mean you were that Wu Gang who carried a big axe and followed Fairy Chong? He, on the moon in the sky, who only knew how to chop cassia trees all day long? Wu Yang thought for a while and asked with a smile. You know me, right? Did your owner tell you that? He dares to tell you about Big Sister. He is doomed. If Big Sister knows this, she will skin him alive. Wu Gang said nervously. You is with him. Why don't you control him? If you are Wu Gang, I really have to call you ancestor. I heard from my grandpa that my great-grandpa's 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 great-grandpa. Our ancestors seem to live in a place called Hushi. Are you Wu Gang? Wu Yang said with a smile. Kid, is your ancestor really Wu Gang from Hushi? I don't know how many years have passed in the human world. I didn't expect to see my descendants again in the human world. Wu Gang said with emotion. Kid, find a way to put me down. If you dare to punish me in the past, you would be punished by death by 1,000 cuts. Since it's your first offense and you don't know my identity, I won't pursue it this time. Ancestor, why are you in such a hurry? Let's talk about your story first. There are many rumors about you in the human world. Some people say that you offended the Jade Emperor and punished you to chop cassia trees in the Moon Palace. But the cassia trees will grow back automatically if you chop them halfway. So no matter how hard you try, you can't chop them down, right? Wu Yang asked with a smile. His family tree did have some information about the origin of the Wu family. Their ancestors were indeed from Hushi and had some relationship with Wu Gang. Wu Yang read a lot of ancient books after he went to school, so he knew a lot about Wu Gang. Of course, it was limited to the records of ancient books in the human world. I was punished by the Jade Emperor? Bullish asterisk T. If I gave him some guts, would he dare to say no to me? A guy who can only stay in the 5th level of heaven all his life. If not, because he has the Emperor's breath, he is nothing. Wu Gang said angrily. It was fine if he didn't come to the human world. He didn't expect that he would be spread like this in the human world. If it's not this legend, then it should be that you offended the sun god Yindi and were sent to the moon to chop trees, right? Wu Yang continued to ask. The sun god Yindi? The guy who broke through the 8th level of heaven in 100,000 years. I offended him, and I can kill him. How dare he call himself the sun god? He doesn't know his strength. Wu Gang said with a trace of disdain. This legend is not right. That is, when you were guarding the gate of the Nantian Gate, you flirted with Chong Yi on the moon. As a result, the Jade Emperor couldn't stand it and sent you to the Moon Palace to chop cassia trees. Is this the reason? Wu Yang said after thinking for a while. Kid, be careful with your words. When did I stay at the Nantian Gate? How dare I flirt with Big Sister? Don't talk nonsense. Wu Gang wanted to kick his descendant to death, so he couldn't help saying loudly. No. Is it because of the legend of the best wine in the world, osmanthus wine? I don't know what osmanthus wine is, but speaking of the best wine in the world, it should be the wine brewed by your tavern master. But when Chunqing Yuan comes, I will teach him a lesson. How dare he drug me? Wu Gang said angrily. If it's not osmanthus wine, is it the legend that you offended the Yellow Emperor? Wu Yang didn't give up and asked. It was not easy to meet such a talkative guy, so Wu Yang couldn't help but ask. The human emperor? He is nothing. I offended him, and he can't wait to curry favor with me. Wu Gang shook his head and said, Then, old ancestor, tell me what's going on with you. Why are you always chopping down osmanthus trees on the moon? Is it because you will never be able to chop down the biggest osmanthus tree? Wu Yang asked with a smile. It's okay to tell you. It's a kind of cultivation method. Every time I chop down the cassia tree, I will use the restoration technique to restore the cassia tree to its original appearance. Only by doing this can I completely master the divine axe used by Pangu Great Emperor. Wu Gang said softly, I know this. It's micro-manipulation. If you can do one thing to the extreme, many things will be easy to do in the future. Wu Yang said thoughtfully, Hee hee, you are worthy of being my descendant. You can understand it as soon as I say it. Wu Gang said with a smile, Ancestor, I recommend you a book called Actor's Self-Cultivation. You should read it carefully. Wu Yang took out a book from his body and stuffed it into Wu Gang's body. If the tavern master comes and lets you go, you should read it carefully. Wu Yang said and left. Chapter 665. The Self-Cultivation of an Actor? What kind of book is this? Is it a martial arts book? Wu Gang said to himself, Boy, put me down first. I will teach you some magic arts, which are definitely much better than the medical skills taught by Chunxing Yuan. Magic. If you know magic, then even pigs can climb trees. When it's time to eat, I'll bring you some food. Don't brag. You're sick. You're sick. You're delusional. Wu Yang said loudly. What's so difficult about a sow climbing a tree? Hallucination? What hallucination? I'm sick. What's wrong with me? Wu Gang was puzzled and wanted to say something, but Wu Yang had already left the room. Haha, it's so funny. Haha, Wu Yang can chat with this big guy for so long. Haha. After returning to the clinic, Chun Jiadi found nothing wrong. He strolled to the monitoring room and saw Wu Yang and Wu Gang chatting, which made him very happy. It's time to eat. After lunch, I have to send him to the big guy. Although he is here to annoy the old woman, we have to be humane, Chun Jiadi said and walked out of the monitoring room. After a sumptuous lunch, Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang told others what Wu Gang said today. A group of people laughed again. Every day, Wu Yang took the time to chat with Wu Gang. Wu Gang told Wu Yang everything. He didn't care about the self-cultivation of an actor. He just chatted with Wu Yang every day, but Wu Yang didn't say anything about letting him go. Brother Chun, after chatting with Wu Gang for a few days, I feel that I can rewrite a journey to the West. No, it should be interesting stories about the heavenly court. Wu Yang said to Chun Jiadi with a smile when eating. As long as you don't talk like him, it's okay. This big guy is really good. He has been tied up by us for 5 days, but he didn't say anything about going to the toilet. Do you think he's really sick and wants to see the boss in the clinic? Chun Jiadi suddenly thought of this. Yeah, if Brother Chun didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about it. Why don't we put him down and take him to the toilet? Wu Yang said in a low voice. Chun Jiadi nodded. After the meal, the two of them walked into the reception room, which was forbidden to outsiders. Brother Wu Gang, I'm here again, Wu Yang said loudly before entering the room. Brother, I am your ancestor. You are inferior to me. Wu Gang scolded loudly. Even if he was not angry, he was still angry after being tied up by several guys in the human world for several days. Oh, why are you so angry today? Walking into the room, Chun Jiadi said. Wu Gang was not in Bugaku. Chun Jiaf, urinary system? Wu Gang recalled the information he got from several foreign tramps when he first came to the human world and suddenly knew what it meant. You are the one who has urinary system problems. Let me tell you, if you know what is good for you, let me go quickly. Otherwise, Chunxing Yuan can't save you. Who is so angry? He even knows the name of Brother Bad Guy. Is it someone sent by the heavenly court? You did a divination a few days ago. There were only 2 words in the divination, old friend. So she couldn't help but come out from Wuji Palace. Before she arrived in Bugyaku, she heard Wu Gang shout, Big sister, I haven't seen you for a long time. The boss said you went back to Tiandao's sect before he left. When did you come back? When you came to the reception room, Chun Jiadi said with a smile before she saw the face of the big guy hanging in the air. Big sister, Brother Chen, and I caught a big guy who came to our clinic to make trouble. Hey, he's an interesting guy. Big sister, you can go and have a look. He said he knew you. Wu Yang said with a smile. You are knew who was hanging in the air. Suddenly, she had mixed feelings. Wu Gang, why are you here? You said to Wu Gang's shadow with a little excitement. Is you here? Wu Gang also found you at the moment when you appeared in Bugyaku. Then Wu Gang's face turned red. He was so embarrassed this time. Keep. You recited a formula and said keep. Then the bundled immortal rope tied to Wu Gang directly fell into the hands of Yu-Er. Wu Gang, who had been suppressed by the bundled immortal rope for so many days, was finally able to use his immortal power. The big iron chain hanging him was directly shattered into powder by his immortal power. Wu Yang and Chun Jiadi were completely dumbfounded. Wu Gang, big sister, do you really know this guy? Wu Yang stammered. Yes, I know him. You can go out first. You were said to them with a smile. Then they ran out as if they were escaping. Boy, if you dare to tell others about me, you will be like the iron chain just now. Do as you see fit. Wu Gang's voice came into their ears. Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang nodded hurriedly. Then Wu Gang let them run out. Ha, Wu Gang, where did you get these clothes? And you were hung up by Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang. If I don't come out, you will be hung up here all the time. It's so funny. When I go back, I must tell you. It's so funny. You laughed wantonly. She hadn't laughed so happily for a long time. Little you, I came to the mortal world to find you out of kindness. How dare you laugh at me? Wu Gang said with a red face. Where is Chun Qingyuan? Ask him to come out. It's not fun today. Well, don't be angry with these little guys. I'll get you some clothes. Your clothes are so funny. You looked at Wu Gang and couldn't help laughing again. If you laugh again, I'll really be angry. Go and find me some suitable clothes. Wu Gang said loudly. You ran out quickly and asked Chun Jiadi to go to the place where they used to make clothes for Dazhu and Kong Fei. She brought a set of fitting clothes for Wu Gang. After putting on the clothes, Wu Gang looked more energetic, but no one could tell that he was one of the 3 generals of the Heavenly Court. Tian Du, Xin Body Wu Gang, was a general. He looked more like a bodyguard. Let's have dinner together later. Although it's only been a few years in the human world, I feel that we haven't seen each other for a long time. How are you, sister? You said with a smile. You will live here in the future. I don't know when Brother Bad Guy will come back. When he comes back, you can tell him anything. Remember, this is the human world. You are Wu Gang of Tiandao sect. You have nothing to do with the generals of the Heavenly Court. Wu Gang listened and nodded. Yes, I am in the human world now. Chapter 666. After Wu Gang ascended to the heaven realm, he returned to the human world. It had been tens of thousands of years since he last came back. However, compared with the masters of the human clan and Ao Feng of the dragon clan, Wu Gang seemed to adapt faster. Or rather, it was not that he adapted faster. It was because he had 2 new followers, Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang, by his side. Brother Gang, this thing is called a mobile phone. You have been on the mountain for many years, but you haven't seen it. Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang accompanied Wu Gang on his left and right. They just drove a pickup truck back from a city. After spending more than 3 million yuan on a pickup truck, they returned to a newly renovated yard of the Gu family, where Wu Gang lived in the human world. A mobile phone is for calling. We don't need it. If we want to contact someone, we can shout directly. Generally, we can shout within 100,000 miles. While speaking, Wu Gang played with his phone for a while. Then, he opened something that was still intact. Ahem. Why do the masters from the big sects like to open things? Chun Jiadi scratched his head and thought. But then he was called by Wu Gang to tell him something else. This kind of hidden weapon is good, but its power is too weak. If this thing is replaced with the inner elixir of a mysterious beast, it will be a good thing in the human world. Wu Gang took a high-quality imitation of a gun and said with a smile, Master Gang, in fact, if you want to play with a more powerful gun, you can go to the army. Boss knows a lot of people in the army. It's absolutely easy to get some real weapons with you. Wu Yang said with a smile. Then let's go to the army after lunch. I also want to see Guo Pai. If he doesn't come, can I go to see him? Anyway, you didn't say whether I can go to see him or not. Wu Gang said with a smile. Because Wu Gang came, you didn't go back to Wuji Palace to practice today. Instead, she called all the family members of Guo Pai out. When they heard that the person who came was Wu Gang, they were very curious about the appearance of this warrior of the heavenly court. When Wu Gang returned to Bugyaku from the Gu family, the meal was ready. A table of women was waiting for Wu Gang to eat. Little mama, is this Uncle Wu Gang? Ming Ming looked at the big man in front of her, who was taller than Li Yao and Dezhu, and asked softly, Yes, this is your Uncle Wu Gang. You said with a smile. Uncle Wu Gang, I am calling you. Don't you know how to express your gratitude? After you finished speaking, Lin Shuang was a little embarrassed and pulled you After all, the little girl was her own girl. How could she ask for something from a guest? However, you pushed Lin Shuang with a smile and said, It's okay. The big man must have something good with him. Sister must have given him something good, but she is not willing to take it out. Before Wu Gang came to the human world, he often followed Chang to check the situation in the human world. He more or less knew that the human world demanded reciprocity. When Chang asked him to go down to the human world, she really gave him a small gourd, which seemed to contain a lot of things. Hey, you can't stop me. I have something with me. My niece called me uncle. There must be something good. Wu Gang said with a smile. However, when he put his divine sense into the gourd, he suddenly felt a little embarrassed. There were a bunch of knives, spears, swords, halberds, axes, hooks, and forks. It seemed that Sister had refined some weapons recently when she was bored. There were no children's toys. Well, don't hide it. Tell me the things. Let's have a look. Don't tell me that you prepared these things yourself. It must be Sister who asked you to bring them. You, said and grabbed the gourd from Wu Gang's hand. And she poured out all the things in the gourd at once. With a crashing sound, the whole room was filled with weapons. You widened her eyes and looked at the various weapons in the room. There was more or less her sister's aura on them. You knew that these things were personally refined by her sister. Although they couldn't be compared to the heaven realm's divine weapons, these things were suitable for people in the human world to use. It was a divine weapon that gold core stage experts could display their strongest strength. It seems that Sister has already known the things in the human world. It's better not to ask Wu Gang to bring these things. Hey, with these things, the strength of the human tribe will definitely be improved a lot. At that time, we can defeat the great demon, and we great sorcerers will also get some merits. You thought with a smile. Ahem, I know that these things are not suitable for you to play with. But wait a moment, I will make something fun for you. Wu Gang took a black stone from his neck regardless of the surprised expressions of others, and then there was an axe of about 30 centimeters in his hand. He had seen countless people carving things with knives, but it was the first time for him to do manual work with an axe. About 7 or 8 minutes later, the black stone in Wu Gang's hand was carved into the appearance of Meng Meng. Her expression was exactly the same as the little girl's, and there was even a trace of Meng Meng's breath on the stone sculpture. Meng Meng, take it quickly and thank your Uncle Wu Gang. When the girls were amazed by Wu Gang's carving skills, Yu walked to the stone sculpture with Meng Meng in her arms. Then she quickly made a blood mark on the little girl's finger. A few drops of blood dripped on the stone sculpture, and then the stone sculpture disappeared in front of everyone. Hey, Brother Gang, I have known you for so many years, but this is the first time that I have seen you being so generous. When Brother Bad Guy comes back, I will ask him to give you as much good wine as you want. You said with a smile. After Wu Gang finished carving the small stone, his face turned pale. At this time, the girls found out about it together. But when Wu Gang heard Yu-Er's words, he nodded with a smile and said, Little Yu-Er, this is what you said. Help me get the wine. Ahem, now is the time. Speaking of wine, I think you are energetic again. Take this elixir. Carving the Yuanying stone just now consumed a lot of your mental and physical strength. It is estimated that you will not recover for at least 3 months. You said with a smile. Damn, the spiritual chi in the human world is too weak. If it were in the Moon Palace, it would be a piece of cake. Wu Gang took the elixir, stuffed it directly into his mouth, and said softly, "Brother Wu, your carving skill is really amazing. We only know that Sister Yu is good at carving, but we didn't expect Brother Wu to be better. I thank Brother Wu again on behalf of my daughter." Lin Shuang said softly and poured a glass of wine for Wu Gang. Hee, there are no outsiders here, so there's no need to be so polite. If you girls like it, Wu Gang can carve something for you. However, Wu Gang came out in a hurry and only had a small piece of nascent soul stone. I do have some other materials, but they are not as good as nascent soul stone. However, they're still useful for cultivation. Wu Gang said with a smile, Yu-Er's carving skill, hey, I taught her little by little. Although it is a little worse than me, she can be regarded as a master. You are so arrogant. Don't waste your mental and physical strength on carving these days. Just stay in the Gu family. Yu stared at them with her beautiful eyes and said, Sisters, these weapons are all made by my eldest sister. Each of you can choose 3 of them. They will be of great help to your cultivation in the future. After Yu-Er's words, Wu Gang was left drinking wine alone at the table. The other girls all went to choose weapons. Chapter 667. During lunch, the girls were busy choosing their own magic weapons, so they didn't eat anything. But Wu Gang's face was oily. It was boring to drink alone. After Yu-Er put away all the weapons on the ground, Wu Gang called Chun Jiadi, Wu Yang, and Zhou Tianyang, who was already familiar with them, to drink together. Wu Yang was the first to be drunk, and then Chun Jiadi. After that, Wu Gang looked at Zhou Tianyang and laughed. Wu Gang, I didn't offend you, but your laughter makes me nervous. Zhou Tianyang said with a smile. Brother Zhou, you must be joking. These 2 guys dared to put drugs in my wine on the first day. I came to Bagyaku and tied me up for several days. I wanted to teach them a lesson yesterday, but I thought that I was their elder, so I couldn't do it. Today, I will drink them up openly. Wu Gang said loudly, and Zhou Tianyang hurriedly agreed. Yu-Er had told him that he couldn't offend this guy. Well, is it worth it for Lord Wu Gang to show off after drinking 2 little guys? Yu-Er came out from the inner room and said jokingly, Uncle Zhou, you can ask the guys in front to clean up. I have something to talk with Wu Gang. Wu Gang followed Yu-Er back to the room. Wu Gang, does the Heavenly Court already know about what happened in the human world? Yu-Er asked bluntly. What do they know? The human world is covered by the heavenly mystery. I can't see anything, but my sister must know something. The 3 realms may be in chaos, so she asked me to go down to the mortal world to earn some merits. Wu Gang didn't hide anything. Then Yu-Er told Wu Gang what happened in the human world in the past 6 years. The more Wu Gang listened, the more surprised he was. When the great demon ran rampant, Wu Gang basically fought with the demon tribe every day. The title of the fiercest warrior in the heavenly court was also won at that time. Wu Gang knew that the strength of the demon tribe should not be underestimated. Since my sister asked you to go down to the mortal world, you should stay there. In 5 years, the human world needs people. As long as you are willing to help, you'll get a lot of merits. Yu-Er said with a smile, Hey, after all, if I help the human world to survive this disaster, I could get a lot of benefits. But the biggest winner is your man. Wu Gang said with some playfulness. It's mainly because Bad Brother contributed a lot. The more you work, the more you get, right? Yu-Er said with a smile, and Wu Gang didn't say anything. Wu Gang planned to go to the 531 First Army in the afternoon. Because Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang were drunk by Wu Gang didn't want to bother others, so he went back to his residence to play with the things he bought. At this time, Wu Gang was looking at Victoria's Secret on the computer with his upper body half naked, which made Wu Gang daydream. The human world is really good. Her appearance and figure are good, but she is much worse than Yu-Er, not to mention my sister. Just as this thought appeared in Wu Gang's mind, he suddenly felt a pressure from the sky. Wu Gang shuddered, and then this thought disappeared. Sister, I'm just thinking about it. I don't want to see it. I want to play with these little things. Wu Gang muttered, and a small Rubik's Cube appeared in his hand. 1 minute later, the Rubik's Cube had been solved by Wu Gang. If someone saw that a finger as thick as a radish could solve the Rubik's Cube so fast, he would definitely be surprised. Brother Gang, do you really want to drive? Let me drive. There are a lot of people on the road now. When we arrive at the army, you can go to the playground to practice. Otherwise, if you drive without a license and have an accident, it will be troublesome. The next morning, Wu Gang saw that Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang woke up. Fortunately, they knew to take some medicine to detoxify the alcohol. Otherwise, they would not be so energetic after drinking so much yesterday. They drove to the army. Just when the car started, Wu Gang asked to drive himself. Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang were a little overwhelmed. Yes, Master Gang, our bodies are not as good as yours. If something happens, it will be troublesome. You'd better sit in the car. Wu Yang also said quickly. I want to drive. Master Gang, you don't even know which is the accelerator and which is the brake. How can we let you drive? Chun Jiadi continued. I want to drive. Master Gang. Before Wu Yang spoke, Wu Gang's big hand had been hanging on Wu Yang's body. I want to drive. If you don't let me drive, then let's go and see. Brother Gang, this is the car key. Be careful. This car is boss's. Although it is not expensive, it is almost 5 million yuan. Chun Jiadi handed the car key to Wu Gang carefully and said softly, Get in the car. It's just a car. When I got the 9-Sun Sky car in the Heavenly Court, it was much more complicated than this. I can play with it easily. Wu Gang shouted. The two guys who didn't want to get in the car hurriedly got in the car. Then they fastened their seat belts and looked at each other as if they were ready to die. Accelerator and brake. It's just the two things below. Let's go. Wu Gang looked at Chun Jiadi and started to imitate him directly. Woo woo woo. After several roars of the accelerator, the SUV rushed out fiercely. Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang couldn't help closing their eyes and opening their mouths. About a minute later, the two opened their eyes. The car was very stable, but when Chun Jiadi came back to his senses and saw the number on the speedometer, Chun Jiadi's hand grasped the steering wheel even tighter. The speedometer had reached the top. The SUV here had been driven by Wu Gang at 320 kilometers per hour. Wu Gang was driving the cars ahead one by one. Emperor Jia, can you make the car go faster? It's not satisfying. Wu Gang turned to Chun Jiadi and asked, Master Gang, drive. Don't talk when driving. Chun Jiadi stammered because he and Wu Yang had smelled a trace of burnt tires. Wu Gang was not in a good mood. However, the road from the capital to 531 was in chaos. Brother Chun, please help me check this car. I've sent you the license plate number. This car is 2F King awesome. It didn't slow down all the way at 300 kilometers per hour. Mengzi, and I couldn't even see the headlights. A young man with earrings was driving a modified Bugatti Veyron. The speed had just decreased from 270 kilometers per hour. He was talking on the phone. Old 7, don't offend that car. It belongs to the bad master of Bugyaku. About a minute later, the man on the other side of the phone called Brother Chun whispered, 7th brother, are you looking for trouble? I'm looking for trouble. But we didn't even see the taillights. I guess someone will call you later to ask about that car. Old 7 hung up the phone. Don't offend the SUV of the masters of Diff. We can't afford to offend them. About 10 minutes later, the cars on the road all moved aside. Wu Gang's car was driving at the fastest speed. Wu Gang felt bored. Fortunately, they arrived at the gate of 531 Army safely. Chapter 668. The 531 Battalion had become a forbidden area in Huaxia. Originally, the 531 Battalion was just a military region in Huaxia. However, in the past 3 days, more than 80,000 soldiers came from other 7 military regions in Huaxia. No one knew why these people came to the 531 Battalion. However, since the last military vehicle entered the 531 Battalion, the entire 531 Battalion was sealed off. Password. When Wu Gang and the other two just got off the car, they heard a loud voice through a loudspeaker. Password? What password? Wu Gang was stunned. He looked at Chun Jiadi and Wu Yang and asked, There are several guns over there. What does that mean? Master Gang, get into the car. We need to communicate with the people in the 531 Battalion first. It was not so troublesome last time. Wu Yang estimated in a low voice. Brothers, we are from Bugyaku. We are here to find our master. Please open the door for us. Chinjati raised his hands and said loudly to the inside. Password. It was still the same 2 words. Chinjati found that it was impossible, so he also got into the car. Brother Gang, the guards at the gate are changed. I will call Bad Guy to see if he is inside. Chinjati said with a red face. He was a little embarrassed. After all, he bragged so much at the beginning. Now he couldn't even enter the gate. Don't call him. You two just sit down and let's go in. Wu Gang grinned and stepped on the accelerator. The SUV rushed towards the gate. Before Chinjati and Wu Yang realized what was going on, the SUV had rushed in. Then several bullets hit the SUV. Fortunately, the whole SUV was bulletproof. Otherwise, it would have been an accident. Someone broke into the 531 Battalion and rushed towards the forbidden area. Asked for support. The guard at the gate said loudly to the walkie-talkie. Then the whole 531 Battalion was boiling. There is really someone who doesn't know what's going on. Take the weapons. No matter who is in the car, stop the car first. A big guy shouted to a few company commanders. Then, the brigade commander of the Wild Seed Brigade, closest to the training room, sent out 4 companies of soldiers at once. Wu Yang, hurry up and contact boss. I'll contact Big Sister Yuer. We're in big trouble now. Chinjati said softly. Wu Gang already knew where Guopai might be when he entered 531. If Guopai was in 531, he must be in the south where the array was set up. But the array was really bad. Wu Gang just roared, and the array outside the mysterious training camp was broken. Guopai, who was training soldiers inside, didn't know who came, but the person who could easily break his array was not weak. He hurriedly ran out. It's over. Rocket launchers. We're finished. The car made a turn at 531 Battalion for a while. As soon as the car stopped, Wu Gang and others walked out of the car again. Seeing a row of rocket launchers aimed at them, Wu Gang smiled foolishly because he sensed a breath of gold core stage. It should be Guopai who came to find him. But his smile suddenly disappeared because the last line of defense outside the training camp was firing at them. Damn it, they've started. Wu Gang roared and looked at the rocket launchers flying towards him. He was sure that he could take them, but if there was a miss, the 2 little guys would be finished. Thinking of this, Wu Gang jumped up and reached out to block all 18 rocket launchers with his hands. Qinqing Yuan, are you still watching the fun? Ask your people to stop, or I won't be polite. Wu Gang rubbed his hands and said loudly. Although the rocket launchers did not hurt him, his hands were still a little numb. After all, the gold core stage was not as powerful as the 11th heaven. Stop, all of you. We're on the same side. Guopai suddenly appeared in front of the group of artillerymen and said loudly to a group of soldiers. Then his eyes fell on Wu Gang. Hey, Immortal, don't you recognize me? Wu Gang naturally knew what Guopai's expression meant. He was not you, who could sense his breath. Who are you? Since you came to find Guopai, you should be Guopai's friend. Guopai said with a smile. But the guy in front of him did not reveal any breath, so Guopai really did not recognize him. Boss, his name is Wu Gang. Sister Yuer said that he was also a member of Tiandao sect. Seeing Wu Gang playing riddles with Guopai, Wu Gang could not help but say loudly to Guopai, Wu Gang, you are Wu Gang? Which Wu Gang in the Heavenly Court's Moon Palace? It's impossible. How could the Heavenly Court let a general come down? Guopai said with his eyes wide open. Then he flew to Wu Gang and said with a look of disbelief, should we find a quiet place to talk? Wu Gang looked at Guopai and said with a smile, well, let's find a quiet place. Haha, rare guest, you're a rare guest. Wait a minute. You have made such a big noise, I have to help you clean up your ass first. Guopai said and took out the satellite phone in his hand. Commander Chun, this is Guopai. The person who broke into the 531 Battalion just now was a coach I found. He may have caused some trouble for the brothers in the 531 Battalion. Please tell the people below that everything is fine. Guopai said with a smile. This coach is very brave. He even dared to break into the 531 Battalion. It's good that everything is fine. Chen Yinzhou hung up the phone. After hearing the report from his correspondent, Chen Yinzhou could no longer look at Guo Pai and Tiandao's sect as ordinary people. The big guy just now was more than 2 meters tall. He blocked 18 bombs with his body. Do you think such a person is still a human? Several people who fired the bombs whispered to a group of soldiers who arrived later. Ma Jingshan, forget it. You didn't stop him, so just say it. Are you afraid of losing face? Several veterans joked. Believe it or not, if you don't believe it, you can check the surveillance video. The group of soldiers inside will suffer a lot this time. Ma Jingshan did not explain much. Although they were not qualified to enter the training ground, they could more or less see the training content of the people inside, so they knew that such people existed. Seeing a group of soldiers carrying bombs leave, the veterans received a call from their superiors. They did not need to deal with the matter of breaking into the barracks just now, so they immediately withdrew to their own places. Hey, Brother Wu Gang, I don't know what you came to the mortal world for this time. Guo Pai rubbed his hands and said, You came to the mortal world from afar. You didn't come empty-handed, did you? After inviting Wu Gang into the room, Guo Pai said with a smile, come empty-handed? It turns out that you didn't come empty-handed, but all the things you brought were taken away by your wife. If you want anything, you can ask Yuer for it. Wu Gang said loudly, Look at you. Little Yuer has also changed. She used to be a good girl, but now she has been led astray by you. She's like a commoner now. Chapter 669. Such a good girl has been led astray by me. As Guo Xiao thought about it, he burst into laughter. Brother Gang, since the fairies sent you to the mortal world, I'll give you some of the fated chance, Guo Pai said with a smile. Of course. Big sister told me to listen to you. We saw what you did in the human world recently when we were in the heavenly court. Your name is at the top of the merits list. Merits are useless to you, so you can give them all to me. Wu Gang said with a smile. That's right. Brother, you said it's not a problem. Guo Pai said with a smile. Wu Gang looked at Guo Pai's smirk and shuddered. Nothing good, absolutely nothing good. Brother Qingyuan, how about this? To be honest, I'm not short of merit. You can leave it to those who need it. I'll go out for a walk. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to Bugyaku and chat with you. We haven't seen each other for a long time, Wu Gang said and turned to leave. Brother Gang, what's the hurry? You haven't seen you for a long time. You and I haven't seen each other since we were in the heavenly court. What I know about you is mostly from other people's words, such as the most handsome man in the heavenly court, the most manly man in the heavenly court. Now that we've met, let's have a good chat, Guo Pai said with a smile. Ha, brother, did someone really say that before? Wu Gang stopped and sat on the stool. He asked with a smile, How could it be fake? You should know that my life was saved by the great sage. Even the great sage said that if the Erlang Immortal sent by the heavenly court was you, he would have chosen to enlist you directly. How could he have gone to the Western paradise to fetch the Buddhist scriptures later? Guo Pai said with a smile. The strength of the monkey is not weak, mainly because of the power of the bloodline. None of the 4 great spiritual monkeys is easy to deal with. They broke through to the 12th heavenly layer after practicing for a long time. Unlike me, I'm still at the 11th heavenly layer. Wu Gang shook his head and said, Brother Gang, to tell you the truth, you must get the merits in the human world. Of course, you can't get the merits for nothing. Yuer must have told you about the situation in the human world. Let me tell you more about it. Guo Pai said with a smile. Wu Gang nodded. I don't know about the demon race's plan, but with the personalities of the lustful demon and the other demon children, they definitely have a way to break the seal. If that's the case, then the human world will be in chaos. Right now, I'm doing my best to nurture Wuxiao. Guo Pai chuckled. Brother, I heard a little about your plan from you. Brilliant, really brilliant. You want me to stay here and train these people with you, don't you? Wu Gang said with a smile. No need. How can I let you do the physical work of tens of thousands of people? Stay here for a while. I have a lot of good wine. Drink some wine and rest. I have a few subordinates. If you have nothing to do, just give them some pointers. Guo Pai said with a smile. Hezhu, Kong Fei, come here quickly. I'll introduce you to a handsome guy, a super master of masters. Since Wu Gang appeared, Dezhu and Kong Fei felt that they were suppressed by something deep in their bones. They didn't even dare to look at him. They naturally knew that this big guy was definitely not ordinary. Now that their boss called them, they walked to Guo Pai and Wu Gang. No wonder I sensed a few familiar scents as soon as I came in. Not only the two of them, but 6 of them also have the bloodline of our senior magi. You wait for a moment, I'll go and find them. Wu Gang smilingly walked into the army and found the 6 strong guys. Guo Pao nodded. The bloodlines of the senior magi of these 6 people were deeply hidden. At the beginning, Guo Pao had also sensed a trace of them. However, later on, these bloodlines seemed to have sensed Guo Pao's observation, and all of them disappeared. Therefore, Guo Pao didn't continue to look for them. Today, however, Wu Gang found them all. Brother Gang, with your intelligence and wisdom, you should know what I'm going to do. Guo Pai said with a smile. Leave these 8 people to me first. I'll take care of them for you for a month. I don't care if they die. If you have other things to ask me to do, you can tell me. After that, Wu Gang took the 8 people to a hidden place. Zhu Zi, Kong Fei, this is your opportunity. If there's anything you don't know, just ask him. He is more suitable than me to teach you. Before leaving, Guo Shuai transmitted a message to Zhu Zi and Kong Fei. Weak, 2 weak. They have the blood of senior magi, but their bodies can't even be compared with ordinary monsters. Fortunately, I came this time. Since the 8 people were handed over to Wu Gang, Guo Pai didn't care about them. He didn't dare to be more than 100 meters away from them. Wu Gang didn't set up a formation, so Guo Pai naturally heard what Wu Gang said to the 8 people. Look carefully. Wu Gang looked for a while on the training ground and found a sniper rifle. When he was in Bugyaku, Chun Jiadi gave him a high-quality imitation. Now, this one was genuine. Wu Gang took the sniper rifle and threw it to Kong Fei. Shoot at me. Anywhere is okay. Wu Gang said loudly to Kong Fei. Kong Fei opened his eyes wide. Although he and Dazhu could resist a few attacks from rifles or pistols, no one dared to try such a modified sniper rifle at such a close distance. Hurry up, don't waste our time. Wu Gang looked at the several people who opened their eyes wide and said loudly. Kong Fei's hand shook, and an internationally banned sub-explosive projectile was shot out. Such a bullet could penetrate a 4-centimeter steel plate within a distance of 1,000 meters. Bang! The bullet hit Wu Gang. The bullet was embedded in his flesh, but everyone was surprised that the bullet didn't penetrate Kong Fei. Although the bullet was embedded in his flesh, no blood flowed out. Is he still a human being? The soldiers selected by Wu Gang were completely stunned. See, you have to train your body to be like this. If you really fight with those people, with such a physique, you won't be at a disadvantage. Wu Gang said with a smile, I have a way, but it's a little dangerous. It depends on whether you dare to try it. Hey, brother, to be honest, in the whole barracks, I only admire Guo Pai. He is really powerful. Today, I admire you. One of the soldiers stood up and said, My name is Xiao Chuang. I hope you won't hide your skills from us. Teach us what you should teach us. Training is definitely dangerous. Speaking of which, what else is not dangerous? We might even choke to death when we eat. You're trying to torture us to death. If you can really train us to be like you, you'll be our master in the future. We'll be your apprentice. Hey, I really don't know where Chun Qing Yuan found these people. Comfortable. I feel comfortable listening to them. Chapter 670. With Wu Gang training Dezhu and the others, Guo Pai didn't care about them. Almost every few minutes, he would hear a few people screaming like pigs being slaughtered. Guo Pai became accustomed to it. Finally, your meridians are fixed so that you can maximize the strength of the Wu tribe. Wu Gang looked at the 8 people who had been tortured by him, and all of them collapsed on the ground, and said with a smile, You wait, I'll ask Guo Pai for some medicine. Why are you so fragile? I just started play, and you already crawled down. Wu Gang asked Guo Pai for some medicinal pills. Guo Pai was also generous. He directly gave Wu Gang a jade bottle with almost 100 medicinal pills in it. Hey, brother, you can refine medicinal pills of such quality in the human world. If you go back to the heavenly court, I will lend you the 8 trigrams furnace of Lao Jun. Can you make Jiu Qian Divine concentrating pill? At that time, I will provide the medicinal ingredients. Brother, you can make me 180 sets of medicinal pills. Wu Gang didn't care whether Guopai agreed or not. He just smiled and walked away. If you can get the 8 trigrams furnace of Laojun for me, I will definitely make you 180 sets of medicinal pills. Guopai said with a smile. Guopai stayed in 531 for half a year. More than 80,000 soldiers had all entered the enlightening period. The speed of progress was beyond his imagination. Although his medicinal pills had a great effect, Guopai couldn't help but give a thumbs up because of the soldier's style and will. If these people went to the heavenly realm with him in the future with the same strength, 80,000 people would definitely not be at a disadvantage against 300,000 heavenly soldiers. Brother, you gave me 8 people, and I'll give you 7 back. Daju will follow me from now on. The great witch's blood in his body is from the same clan as mine. The descendants of our clan, no matter if it's the human clan against the demon clan or the immortal clan against the demon clan, can't let anyone die. Wu Gang took 7 people to Guopai, but he didn't see Daju. Guopai looked at Daju from a distance and saw that he was still meditating. He nodded gently. 7 people, all of whom have entered the gold core stage. If the 7 of them join forces, it will be difficult to deal with you. But if Daju is included, it should not be a big problem to deal with you. Wu Gang said with a smile. Of course, there's one more thing. Bad brother, you don't use formations and magic weapons. Do you mean that I can fight against you senior magi only with my physical strength? Guopai said with a smile. Then, Wu Gang laughed as well. These people had already broken through to the enlightening stage. If they wanted to continue to break through, relying solely on pills would not be of much use. Guopai was ready to start the second step of his plan. Kong Fei, I'll leave this place to you. I have to go back to the medical center to prepare for the opening of the martial arts center. Don't neglect these people's cultivation. After explaining everything, Guopai wanted to go back with Wu Gang. However, Wu Gang said that he wanted to wait for Daju to wake up. Guopai flew to Bugyaku by himself. Guopai returned to the medical center. You, came out of the Wuji Palace with the women. Their strength surprised Guopai. Their strength isn't increased by pills, right? How can they improve so fast? Guopai pulled Yu aside and asked in a low voice, especially Xiao Mengmeng. She is not in the gold core stage. Don't mess with her. If the little girl ascends, it will be difficult for me to go to the heavenly court with my current strength. Hey, Yu knows this. Didn't Wu Gang tell you? Wu Gang gave the little girl a Yuanying stone. As for the improvement of the strength of the others, I have to thank you, sister. Yu said with a smile. It turned out that the first batch of weapons that Chang'e asked Wu Gang to bring to the mortal world were all made by Chang'e herself. Each of the girls had 2 weapons, and they were very accurate. Some cultivation information on the weapons was automatically transmitted to their minds after the weapons recognized their owners. It was as if Fairy Chang'e was guiding them in their cultivation. With the help of such a big boss-level task, it was hard for them not to cultivate quickly. Wu Gang didn't tell me. How many weapons did Fairy Chang'e bring? 10,000? 5,000? 1,000? Don't tell me there are no more than 1,000. Guopai looked at Yu, shaking her head, and suddenly became listless. Yu, Fairy Chang'e, you didn't give Tang Shi and the others weapons, did she? There are more than 70 weapons, and they are all here. Don't be too greedy. Although these weapons look simple, it's not easy to refine them. It's not easy for sister to ask Wu Gang to bring them. Yu, said with a smile, and threw the rest of the weapons to Guopai. That's true. However, the fact that Fairy brought weapons has reminded me of something. If I can equip all of our people with divine weapons within 5 years, wouldn't we have a greater chance of dealing with the demon race? Guopao thought with a look of longing. It's not easy to equip 100 million heavenly weapons. Even 10 million heavenly weapons are very difficult. Yu said with a smile. First, tell me why you come back this time. To open a martial arts club. The progress of the army is much faster than I thought. Now more than 80,000 people have entered the enlightening period. I'm going to let them practice and train others at the same time. Guopai said softly. This time, it was Yu turn to widen her eyes. More than 80,000 ordinary soldiers. In half a year, all of them had entered the enlightening stage. What kind of speed was this? Even if the world was filled with spiritual energy back then, this speed was still considered fast. Bad guy, are you an enlightening period soldier who was trained by elixirs? You couldn't help but ask. Of course, I gave them some elixirs, but they were able to break through all by their own efforts. Guopai said softly, there are still 4.5 years. Now we can only do our best and follow God's will. Guopai said softly, I'll contact Brother Yao and Brother Yuan. Let Ling Ling contact the planning team of the Great Doctor. The plan of the Great Warrior Martial Arts Club has to be brought forward. After the three of them arrived at the medical hall, Guopao brought the three of them to the mortal realm. After that, they booked a big room in the mortal realm. The rest of the people came one after another. Li Yao, Jia Yuan, and Wang Sheng arrived at the medical hall. Mr. Gua, are you really going to open a martial arts club on a global scale? The most famous investors in the capital, or in Huaxia, all appeared in the box. This time, the 5,000 martial arts clubs were more difficult to set up than the medical center. Guopai didn't want to use all his money. Although money was meaningless to him, Guopai was still prepared to borrow the strength of others, because he didn't have so much time to advertise and recruit people. The demon race didn't leave much time for the human world. Ling Ling, tell us about our plan for the Great Warrior Martial Arts Club. Guopai said to Sun Ling Ling with a smile. Sun Ling Ling, who was already in the fasting period, looked at the most famous investors in Huaxia without a trace of nervousness. What was there to be nervous about? Her husband was an immortal. Calling them here was already giving them face. Simply put, the Great Warrior Martial Arts Club is going to open 1,000 martial arts clubs in Huaxia. The other 4,000 martial arts clubs are distributed all over the world. We need investors to find houses and go through the formalities. The Great Warrior Martial Arts Club is only responsible for sending people to be the owner of the martial arts club and training them. Sun Ling Ling said with a smile. After she finished speaking, she didn't care about the surprised expressions of a group of people and sat down. Mr. Gua, Miss Sun, I think your plan is completely unworkable. If it's just like this, we can't cooperate. Chapter 671. An old man among the investors stood up and said softly. The others nodded. Mr. Gua, if it's like Bugyaku, we can invest for free. We don't care if it makes money or not. At least it's a service for the people. We really admired Mr. Gua's courage back then. However, if this martial arts center is only for physical fitness, there's no room for profit and it doesn't even have any influence, so we won't invest in it. Chen Dongxiu, the CEO of Huaxia's Angel Venture Capital Group and one of the most famous people in Huaxia in recent years, said with a smile. If Jia Yuan hadn't called him over, he might not have given face to Guopai, a legendary person, just because of Bugyaku's name. Chen Dongxiu didn't believe that there was such a person. Just as they were chatting, a waiter served the dishes. The waiter was about to leave after serving the dishes, but Guopai stopped him. Brother, do you want to learn martial arts? Guopai asked with a smile. I'll teach you for free. I'm sorry, sir. I don't have any plans in this area for the time being. I'm doing very well in paradise on earth, the waiter said politely. The waiter said politely. He naturally knew that the person who could book such a room in the immortal world must be one of the top entrepreneurs or executives in China. Otherwise, his boss would not give them face at all. He even recognized Chen Dongxiu, the king of venture capital. Take this, and then you can answer my question, Guopai said with a smile. The waiter looked at the thing in Guopai's hand with a troubled expression. My name is Jia Yuan, the CEO of Yuan International. If anything happens after you take this, I, Jia Yuan, will take full responsibility. You should know this person. He's the owner of Bugyaku in Huaxia. Don't you trust him? At this time, the waiter finally saw Guopai with his back facing him. Oh, it's owner Guopai. I'm really sorry. I didn't see clearly. I'll take this. With that, the waiter directly stuffed the pill into his mouth. Go downstairs and change the positions of the Kirans on both sides of the gate of paradise on earth, Guopai said to the attendant with a smile. Mr. Guopai, I don't. Before the waiter could finish his words, he suddenly felt a powerful force in his body. The waiter nodded and walked out. No, Mr. Guo, I don't believe that you can make an ordinary person become so powerful just by relying on a single pill. I've heard of Wuxiu, and I've also seen him. If you want to move those two Qilins, you have to be at least in the Houtian realm. Only the masters of several martial arts schools in Huaxia can do such a thing. Chun Dongshu shook his head and said. Then he stood by the window with a group of old men, just in time to see the situation at the gate. Zhang Yang, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be serving the guests in your room? The manager asked the waiter softly. I met Guo Pai in Kowloon Temple. He's the great doctor in Huaxia. He asked me to change the positions of these two Qilins, Zhang Yang said softly. Cough, cough, cough. Then you can go. If you can even take them away. The manager said with a smile. Zhang Yang in front of him was a distant relative of his. He grew up in a small town. When he was young, he had always dreamed of becoming a hero. However, it seemed like everyone had such a dream in their heart. The manager thought for a while and shook his head. Back then, he had also dreamed of becoming a Superman. However, the next moment, the manager's eyes widened completely. Squeak. With a squeak, the stone Qilin that was fixed by a crane was pushed by Zhang Yang. Then it was moved to the other side slowly. At this moment, more and more people were watching Paradise on Earth. Chun Dongshu and the others who were upstairs were completely stunned by the situation in front of them. Mr. Guo, this is impossible. This must be an illusion. Chun Dongshu murmured. Zhang Yang had only moved one Qilin and Guo Pai stopped Zhang Yang from above. Don't move that one. Mr. Chun Dongshu will move the other one in a while. You come up first. Guo Pai said loudly to the waiter. The waiter ran to the hall of Kowloon Temple in a flash. Master, I'm willing to learn martial arts. Please accept me as your disciple. The waiter knelt on the ground and said loudly. Hero, yes, the hero dream in this young man's bones was still there. Get up. In a few days, the imperial capital will open a martial arts center. You can still go to work. In your free time, you can go to the martial arts center to learn martial arts. Hurry up and hurry up our food. Everyone is hungry. Guo Pai said with a smile. The waiter nodded and walked out of Kowloon Temple. After a while, all the dishes were served. Bad brother, we haven't seen each other for a long time. I saw Brother Yuan just now. He's been busy over there. I'm late. I'll punish myself by drinking a cup. Du Xiao came in and said with a smile while looking at the people in the room. Brother Du, I found a few chefs for Paradise on Earth. How are they doing here? Guo Pai said with a smile. The chefs who had been poached from the Hilton Hotel to Huaxia had now become the chefs of Paradise on Earth. Many of the dishes today were cooked by them. Guo Pai could taste it. Speaking of this, I have to thank you, bad brother. Today's dishes are on me. It's my treat. Du Xiao said with a smile. We're here to spend money. We can't let Brother Du treat us. Today's meal is on Chun Dongshu, President Chun. Guo Pai said and handed Chun Dongshu an elixir that was exactly the same as the one the waiter had given him. Chun Dongshu swallowed it without thinking. Mr. Du, bring out all the good wine and dishes you have today. It's my treat today. You guys can chat first. I'll go and put the Kylin at your door back in its place. Du Xiao was confused. The others stood at the window again. This Chun Dongshu is the boss of a venture capital company. When did he cultivate internal strength and become a martial artist? It seems that he has already entered the Houtian realm. Mother of Asterisk Kerr, could it be that martial artists have already reached the level where they can fly everywhere? Du Xiao looked at Chun Dongshu putting the Kirin back and couldn't help but say. Then he remembered the elixir Guo Pai gave Chun Dongshu just now. That's enough. Brother Du, don't look at me like that. You are now in the innate realm. In a few days, there will be a martial arts school across from your Paradise on Earth. It's opened by my brother. If you want to break through, go to the martial arts school more often. Guo Pai said with a smile. This news made Du Xiao's eyes widen even more. President Chun, how do you feel? Guo Pai asked with a smile. Let's talk about the martial arts school now. Chun Dongshu had not recovered from the shock just now. The feeling of being full of strength made him want to shout. However, looking at Guo Pai, he suddenly calmed down. Master Gua, I apologize for my behavior just now. I want to listen to all the plans of the great martial artist to determine my investment this time. I now think that the great martial artist is the best investment project I have ever seen in my life. Chen Dongshu said softly. Chapter 672. According to the current medical technology, the average person can live up to 90 years old if they don't have any diseases. There are very few people over 100 years old. If you become Wu Xiao, you can live up to at least 130 years old. If you go one step further like Brother Du, you can live up to 160 years old. Guopai didn't say much. With a few simple words, the group of people became excited again. This time, not only Qin Dongshu was excited, but also the CEOs of several venture capital companies around him. Brother Gua, I haven't done any projects recently. I've decided to invest 100 billion in the Great Warrior Project. This is the first phase. I'll keep an eye on it and increase the investment. An old man took a sip of wine, stood up, and said directly, "What deep hatred! What face and dignity!" At their age, the only thing they wanted was to be alive. Only by being alive could they continue to dominate the business world and be admired by everyone. After they died, other than their close relatives, no one would know that under the piles of yellow soil, there was such an awesome person. After a meal, the four investors decided to invest 800 billion in the Great Warrior Project. Guopai was satisfied with this number. 800 billion was only 8% of the shares of Huaxia's Great Warrior Project. Chen Dongshu owned 5% and the others 1%. Chen Dongshu was right about one thing. This was indeed the best investment he had made in his life. Brother Du, Mr. Chan will pay before the meal today. I haven't had time to chat with you recently. If you have spare money, you can give me 10 billion. Ha! Guopai said with a smile. 10 billion it is. I'll transfer it to Yuan International's account. Du Xiao said with a smile. In the human world, as long as there was money, many things would be much easier. Bad guy. Tim Hilton is looking for Mr. Nangong Hao. When they returned to Bugyaku, Nangong Lingma said with a smile. Guopai nodded. He asked little Ling Mo to send a copy of the Overseas Great Warrior Project to Hilton and Mr. Chi of the Las Vegas Casino. Now the two of them were looking for Nangong Hao like crazy. Let them wait. Guopai was just about to ask Nangong Lingma to contact Tim Hilton when his phone rang. It was Hong Wantong, the leader of the Overseas Hong sect. Bad Lord, I have seen the Grand Martial Artist plan. As long as you open a martial arts club in the United States, I will take care of all the land. However, I have a small request. I want to open a branch of the Grand Martial Artist within the Hong sect. Is that too much? Hong Wantong said with a smile. Haha, Grandpa can do whatever he wants. I won't let him lose money this time. You can contact Tim Hilton and Mr. Chi in Las Vegas later. I believe they will be happy to pay for it. Guopai directly handed the matter of opening the medical center in the United States to the Tiandahui. Mr. Nangong, I'm Chu Sav. A deep voice came from the other side of the phone. Guopai smiled. It was Russia's explosive bear. They hadn't contacted each other since the martial arts tournament. Guopai had sent an email to Chusav regarding the opening of the Grand Martial Arts School. It seemed that Chusav had received the email. Chusav, have you received the email? What do you think of the Grand Martial Artist plan? Guopai asked with a smile. Then you have to answer me first. Should I call you Mr. Nangong or Mr. Gua? This is the beginning of our cooperation. Chusav asked with a smile on the other side of the phone. I'm Guopai from Bugyaku, Huaxia. Guopai didn't hide anything. I will arrive in Bugyaku tomorrow morning. I will bring the instructors of our training camp with me. Let's meet and talk. Chusav hung up the phone after finishing his words. Then, Leo from Italy called Guopai. His disciple, Wakaja, also called Guopai. All of them were about the Grand Martial Artist plan. Guopai replied to them one by one. Some things had to be discussed face to face. Guopai was preparing to go abroad after receiving Chusav and his group tomorrow. Brother Zhou, I haven't seen you for a long time. Call Feng Rue and the others and come to Bugyaku tomorrow. Chusav, the explosive bear from the last martial arts tournament, will also come here tomorrow. Let's have a good chat. Guopai called Huaxia's special ability group. Zhou Zhan was now the deputy leader of the special ability group, and his strength had reached the fasting stage. Good. Little Ling Ma doesn't report to the special ability group now, and we can't contact you. Do you still have the good wine from the past? Zhou Zhan asked with a smile on the other side of the phone. You'll know when you come, but if you want to drink good wine, you have to see if you can beat Little Ling Ma. Guopai looked at Little Ling Ma, who was already at the peak of core formation stage, and said with a smile. Zhou Zhan laughed. Let's talk about it when we meet. Zhou Zhan hung up the phone and directly contacted Feng Rui, Yin Lai, and the others. The plan of the Grand Martial Artist Plan was ready to be implemented. Guopai set up the 9 stars divination, and he couldn't find out whether he could deal with the Grand Martial Artist this time. More than 4 years, thinking of the hundreds of millions of devil soldiers of the devil race, Guopai took a deep breath. If he didn't do it well, the whole world would really be finished. If he wanted the human race to rise again, it would take at least 1,000,000 years and the most ancient bloodline awakening. It was impossible for both to appear at the same time. After a sleepless night, at about 10 o'clock the next morning, a car from the Russian embassy was parked outside Bugyaku. Chusov and the instructor of the world's most terrible training camp came. Haha, Chusov, I haven't seen you for a few years, but you haven't changed much. Guopai smiled and hugged Chusov, but for the other people, Guopai just nodded. Finally, Guopai's eyes fell on a middle-aged man who was completely different from Chusov and the others. Let's go in and talk. Guopai nodded to the crowd, and the group went directly to the backyard of Bugyaku. They hadn't sat down yet, but Zhou Zhan and the others also came in. Everyone is here, and everyone should know each other. Let's not waste time. I'll talk about my plan first. Guopai stood up and said with a smile, Don't be so troublesome. Your email has made it very clear that Chusov has been admiring you since the last martial arts competition. I want to fight with you. If you win, I will help you all settle the matter of the Grand Martial Artist opening a martial arts school in Russia. Chusov didn't speak, but the middle-aged man just now stood up and said softly. His voice wasn't loud, but Guopai felt a trace of Tao in it. This middle-aged man wasn't simple. How should I address you? Guopai looked at the middle-aged man and asked with a smile. He is my master, Bear King Andre, Chusov said with excitement. 30 years ago, he was the Emperor Killer of Russia. Hearing the words Emperor Killer, Zhou Zhan, who was drinking tea, suddenly stood up and stared at Andre. However, the other party only gave him a look, and Zhou Zhan once again squatted on the ground. Peak Gold Core Realm, and a special yuaning in your body. No wonder you have such momentum. Guopai looked at Andre and nodded gently. The yuaning in Andre's body made him interested. A yuaning, not his own, was in his body. Guopai wanted to see what was going on with that yuaning. Chapter 673. Big Brother Bad Guy. Come here for a moment. Just as Guopai was about to discuss the competition with Andre, Yuer walked in from outside. She glanced at Andre and called Guopai out. You also feel that there's something wrong with that Andre. Guopai guessed from Yuer's expression and said softly. Yes, he has a nascent soul in his body. Even my Grand Witch bloodline is suppressed by that nascent soul. You must be careful. If you really can't do it, then break through to the next realm. As long as your strength doesn't reach the severed soul stage, the heavenly lightning won't fall, Yuer said softly. Guopai nodded. The two of them returned to the room again. Andre glanced at Yuer and then looked at Guopai again. Mr. Andre, you are Chusov's master and a guest of Bugyaku. How do you want to compete this time? Guopai said with a smile. We just need to find a big place. Originally, I wanted to ask Chusov to invite you to Russia for the battle. Since we are here, you can choose the place. A martial arts competition is a martial arts competition. There are no rules. If you can defeat the opponent, you will win, Andre said softly. Let's go to the sea. If we compete on land, we may not be able to guarantee the safety of others. Guopai nodded and said softly. In a battle between Gold Core Stage and Nascent Soul Stage, Guopai couldn't guarantee that he would be able to control the situation. This Andre made him 100 times more alert because he was even more terrifying than the incarnation of the great demon. Yuer, You don't have to go. If the others want to follow, then follow if they can fly. If they can't, then stay in Bugyaku. After saying that, Guopai directly flew up on his sword. Andre used some unknown method to follow directly behind Guopai. Chusav couldn't fly, but Andre seemed to have something pulling Chusav, and he also followed behind. Zhou Zhan and the others wanted to follow, but they didn't have the ability to fly from Bugyaku to the open sea. They simply stayed in Bugyaku. Brother Zhou, you are so embarrassing. You want to watch the competition, but you can't even do it. Follow me, I'll take you to watch it. Just as Zhou Zhan and the others were vexed, little Ling Mo, who had been hiding at the side without saying a word, walked out. He held a silk handkerchief in his hand and tied them up. He then soared into the sky and chased after Shuai. Little girl, what's your strength now? Zhou Zhan couldn't help but ask softly. I just formed my gold core a few days ago, so I'm in the gold core realm now. Nangong Lingmo said with a smile. With a master like Shui Yunzi and Air Mao's life-saving monkey hair, it was hard not to improve. However, little Ling Mo's words made Zhou Zhan and the others want to find a hole to hide in. The little girl of the special ability group had now entered the gold core realm after she performed outstandingly in the special ability martial arts competition. Looking at himself, he thought that he had cultivated fast enough in the fasting realm. But the fact was that he couldn't compare with her at all. When he came, he was still clamoring to compete with little Ling Mo. What was the point of competing now? About a few minutes later, little Ling Mo brought the people of the special ability group to the open sea. Guopai and Andrexi's competition hadn't started yet. The two stood in the void, while Chusav stepped on something like a plank and watched from 1,000 meters away. Little Ling Mo didn't dare to bring the people closer and stopped beside Chusav. It hasn't started yet. Little Ling Mo stuck out his tongue and whispered to Chusav. It's been a few minutes, but Master and Guopai haven't made a move yet. Chusav said softly, Little Ling Mo, you can actually fly. Sai, it seems that you deserved to win first place in the martial art competition back then. Do you think I relied on luck? Little Ling Mo clenched his fist. Zhou Zhan and the others wanted to laugh, but they couldn't. They still needed the little girl to pull them back. Make a move. I'm afraid that once I make a move, you won't have a chance. I want to see the strength of the person Chusav lost to, Andrexi said softly. Okay, then I won't be polite. I also want to know the strength of the Emperor Slayer. After saying that, Guopai didn't take out any weapon or magical weapon and directly rushed towards Andrexi. Bang, bang, bang. Guopai fiercely threw 3 punches at Andrexi. After the third punch, Guopai's figure flashed and returned to his previous position. Hard. Guopai had used 50% of his fist strength, but when he punched Andrexi's body, he felt that this guy was too hard. Guopai's 50% fist strength was enough to split a mountain, but Andrexi didn't move at all. Guopai frowned. This Andrexi's body was stronger than anyone he had ever seen in the mortal world. Doubt body. Yes, this Andrexi's body had reached the Tao body realm. It was even stronger than his own body. With such a body, not even the 3 tribulation heavenly thunder could do anything to him. However, how could there be such a strong body in the mortal world? This made Guopai feel even more strange. Use your weapon. Your strength is enough to deal with Chusav, but it's impossible for you to win against me, Andrexi said loudly. Guopai didn't dare to be careless. A long staff appeared in his hand. Although this long staff was far inferior to Air Mao's fake Jingu Bang, this long staff was personally refined by Chong. Guopai could bring out the full strength of this weapon. Andrexi, since this is a martial arts competition, I won't hold back my strength. Going all out is a form of respect for you. I hope you can do the same. You are the strongest enemy I have seen in recent years. Come, Guopai said and rushed forward with his staff. This strength is more like it. Come. Andrexi took out a big axe and chopped toward Guopai. Bang! Guopai was sent flying a kilometer away. The long staff in his hand was broken into 2 pieces. His clothes were also blown away by the power of the axe. Guopai's eyes widened, his gaze fixed on the axe. Again, Guopai roared, and a pair of big hammers appeared in his hand. Guopai rarely used this weapon, but Guopai couldn't find a better weapon to deal with the big axe in Andrexy's hand. Bang! With another sound, Guopao was sent flying again. The blood in his body began to boil. He had fought with the great devil so many times in the mortal world, but it had never aroused his fighting spirit like this. In the 10,000 years he had been in the heavenly court, he had never fought with someone to his heart's content. In the past, he had only fought with his enemies before he ascended to the heaven realm. Guopai smiled when he saw that only the handle of his axe was left. Just now, he saw two words written on the big axe in Andrexy's hand. Even in the heavenly court, no one would recognize the word Pangu. This axe was actually related to Pangu. No wonder it had such an imposing aura. However, how did it fall into Andrexy's hands? Guopai was somewhat at a loss. Let's beat this guy first. A strange nascent soul stage and an axe related to the Witch Lord. Haha, with such an axe, I reckon it won't lose out to Wu Gang's axe. Guopai said and spread out the yin-yang twin life, jade in his hand. He took out his best skill, formation. Chapter 674. The moment Guopai set up the formation, Andre seemed to have discovered something. He rushed towards Guopai with his axe. In an instant, he arrived beside Guopai. However, when his axe fell, it didn't hit anything. At this time, Guopai and Andre were no longer in the same space. Andre stared blankly for a moment. Then, he waved his axe in the middle of the array, but to no avail. Several people who were watching the battle widened their eyes. Ling Mo more or less knew something about arrays, but Chusav and the people from the special ability group didn't know how Guo Xiao did it. Andre, how about we call this a draw? Guopai asked softly. Andre couldn't find a way to break the formation even after a few minutes. Emperor Slayer, you even killed me. How can I lose to you? Break for me. Andre didn't say anything, but his nascent soul, which had been closing its eyes in his body, suddenly opened its eyes. The thin and small Andre's muscles suddenly bulged. In just a few breaths of time, Andre had become a head taller than Chusav and was giving off a frightening aura. Nascent soul occupying a body. Who are you? How dare you use your nascent soul to occupy another person's body? How dare you do such a heaven-defying thing? Guopai suddenly understood what was going on with the nascent soul and asked loudly. I'm taking over his body because I think highly of him. Think about it. With my strength as a beast emperor, if I didn't consume too much of my divine power when I came out of the ceiling formation, would I need to take over a human's body? Andre stared at Guopao and said loudly, Beast Emperor? The Beast Emperor that was rumored to be able to fight against the Demon Lord? How could he be in the human world? Guopai asked with his eyes wide open. Haha, it seems like you know a lot. How about it, little guy? Are you still going to fight me? Andre said with a smile. In the formation, the people outside couldn't hear the conversation between Guopai and Andre. However, from Guopai's expression, they could see that this enlarged version of Andre was very different. Fight, why wouldn't I fight? Under the rules of the human world, I may not lose to you. Guopai said with narrowed eyes. Now that he knew who the person in front of him was, Guopai suddenly thought of a plan. The Beast Emperor had a conflict with the demon race in the past. Now that he appeared in the human world, it might be because of the demon race. Good. It's been a long time since I met someone as interesting as you. Back then, this Andre accidentally obtained this divine's explosive bear's divine power. To lose to you, I want to see who are you? Andre said with a smile, of divine power divine, sense to destroy to me to see, to destroy the divines is, too. So that's how it is. No wonder. Lord Beast Emperor, I am an immortal who was demoted by the heavenly court. Let's finish this fight first, then I'll tell you about my background. Guopai said. Suddenly, he took out a black box and threw it at Andre without saying a word. The beast trapping cage. No, this thing belonged to that immortal. How could it be with you? I admit defeat. Quickly put away. Andre looked at the black box that was getting closer and closer to him and shouted. Guopai's divine sense swept past it and put the box back into the gourd. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and fainted. F***. No one told me that the beast trapping cage has such a huge backlash. This thought appeared in Guapao's mind before he fainted. When Guapao fainted, the array formation trapping Andrexy naturally broke. Andrexy immediately caught Guapao, who was falling from the sky, and his body returned to its original appearance. Let's all return to Bugyaku. Guapao won't die. I have to think of a way to save him. Little girl, don't look at me like that. If I want to hurt him, you can't stop me. Go back. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. Andre said to little Ling Mo. Then, he sent a divine sense into Chuso Fu's body. The few of them flew towards Bugyaku. What's the relationship between this kid and Immortal? The Beast King checked Guapai's body and couldn't help but ask. Back then, when Immortal crossed reincarnation, he left all of us in the heavenly realm. He threw the gourd that he carried with him to the mortal world. How could it be with this kid? Could he be Immortal's reincarnation? The Beast King fell into deep thought. Back then, above the 18 heavens of the heavenly court, there was an existence that surpassed the sage realm. The Beast King was just a small subordinate under him. More than 100,000 years ago, during the war between humans and devils, the Beast King went down to the mortal world with the attitude of watching a good show. He didn't expect to meet the Demon Lord. The two of them fought a few people. The Demon Lord used a trick and trapped the Beast King. He was trapped for more than 100,000 years. Don't think about it anymore. This kid was bitten by a magic treasure. He shouldn't be Immortal's reincarnation. Otherwise, why would he be so stupid? He actually dared to activate the beast cage with just a golden core realm cultivation. Isn't he courting death? The Beast King thought. He didn't care about Guapai anymore. After being bitten by a magic treasure, he would recover after some rest. He didn't have any medicinal pills, so it was impossible to save him. However, Guapai naturally didn't know what the Beast King was thinking. Almost 3 days and 3 nights later, Bugyaku was in chaos. Yu frowned. According to what Ling Mo and the others said, it was impossible for Andre to hurt Guapai. However, after waiting for 3 days and still not returning, Yu became nervous. Cough, cough, cough. It seems that I have to be more careful when using the magic treasure inside the gourd in the future. Guapai coughed twice and thought to himself. He slowly opened his eyes and saw Andre sitting in front of him. Haha, kid, you're awake, Andre said with a smile. He was completely different from the first time they met. Guapai sized up Andre and nodded gently. Mr. Andre, it seems that you lost the competition last time. In the end, you shouted for me to admit defeat. Only then did I put away the magic treasure. Is that right? Guapai said with narrowed eyes. I lost, Andre said with a smile. Then can you tell me who you are? You're not that Andre. You're that strange nascent soul. What's going on? Guapai said directly. Since this guy didn't kill him while he was unconscious, Guapai had to know this guy's identity. I'm the Beast Emperor. Not many people in the heavenly court know about me. I don't know how a little banished immortal like you could know about my existence. However, since you've heard of the 2 words Beast Emperor, you should know who I am. The Beast Emperor said softly, This Andre is an unlucky bastard. I don't know where he got this divine axe from. If I'm not wrong, that axe should be something that belonged to the almighty Pangu. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to break the array laid down by the Demon Lord. Guapai nodded. That axe could easily break the magic treasure refined by Chong. It was definitely not an ordinary item. The human realm is going to be in chaos. Since Lord Beast Emperor is in the human realm, the karma of this world will naturally fall on Lord. Am I right? Guapai didn't beat around the bush and asked with a smile. Back then, the Demon Lord trapped you. Now, you came out before the great demon ran amok. This should be the karma of that year. Kid, if you wanted to deal with the demon race, just say it. As you said, karma is the cycle. If I want to go back, I have to join the war. Also, your great warrior plan is also to deal with the demon race. The Beast Emperor said with a smile. Chapter 675. On the 4th day, Guapai returned to Bugyaku with Andre. No one knew what happened between the two. Before Chusav could ask, Andrei told him that he had lost to Guopai and that he would be staying in Bugyaku from now on. Chusav told Chusav to return to Russia and settle the matter of becoming a grand warrior as soon as possible. Chusav brought a group of experts from the training camp back to Russia. In about a month's time, nearly 1,000 dojos were ready to open in Russia. Chusav's efficiency surprised Guopai. However, Guopai didn't know that Chusav's efficiency was due to Andrei's influence. When he lost to Guopai last time, he accepted it wholeheartedly. However, this time, Andrei said that he had also lost to Guopai. Even his master, a godlike existence, had lost to Guopai. Chusav was completely conquered by Guopai. After Chusav left, Yuer couldn't help but look at Andrei. She smiled and asked Yuer, "Little girl, what are you looking at? Do you know this old man? You have the aura of a grand shaman. You should be a descendant of a grand shaman. Yuer, this is the Beast Emperor, a senior who could fight against the Demon Lord back then. You should have heard about him from your fairy, right?" Guopai walked over and said with a smile, "Cough, cough, cough. Is it true? Bad guy brother, is he really the Beast Emperor?" Yuer asked with her eyes wide open. "I heard from my sister that the Beast Emperor disappeared after the battle with the Demon Lord. How could he be in the human world? Who is your sister?" The Beast Emperor naturally heard Yuer's words. He raised his head and asked, "The Moon Fairy," Yuer said softly. "Ah, that's right. Back then, that little girl was the one who had the highest chance of ascending to the 18th layer of heaven. She also had a very good relationship with Milord. You came to the lower realm. That's right. You should be in the human realm." The Beast Emperor wanted to say something, but he obediently shut his mouth. "Lord Beast Emperor, this is the human realm. We can't always refer to you as such. May I know if you can use another name?" Guopai asked Beast Emperor with a smile. "When I was following Master named me Imperial Sky. You could just call me Imperial Sky. Our seniority can't be discussed so casually," the Beast King said with a smile after thinking about it. "Since Sir has said so, we will call you by your name. You don't have to use the identity of Andrei. If you are not satisfied with your current body, I will find a way to get you a new one in the next few years," Guopai said with a smile. "There's no need for that. I only have this nascent soul left. In the past, I had seized the bodies of experts, but I couldn't get my nascent soul to enter my body. Instead, it's Andrei's body that can let my nascent soul in." Imperial Sky said with a smile, "This Andrei must have had some luck to be able to obtain this godly axe. Otherwise, his body wouldn't be so strong. Hee, it's better that you don't have to change. Since you will be staying in Bugyaku from now on, I can't let you be idle. You should rest well for the next 6 months. Half a year later, you can help me train the Shin beasts. I'll leave this matter to Mr. Imperial Sky. It should be an easy task, right?" Guopai said with a smile. "Of course. Back then, I also had hundreds of millions of Shin beasts. Before I met Milord, I was also in the limelight," Imperial Sky said with a trace of nostalgia. "May I know who is this Milord you keep talking about?" Guopai asked in a daze. "You don't need to know. Milord is Milord. If this little Yuer has heard of him, you can ask her. If she doesn't know, it means that the little girl in the sky has a tight mouth. If she doesn't say anything, then I naturally can't say anything." After Imperial Sky finished speaking, he pointed to a room in the northernmost part of Bugyaku. "I want this room. No matter who used to own it, just tidy it up within a day. I don't want anything else inside." Guopai nodded. No one used to live in that room, so it would be easy to tidy it up. Guopai told Zhou Tianyang, and Zhou Tianyang called a few of the guys in Bugyaku who had nothing to do. It didn't take long for them to tidy up the room. "I'm going to sleep for a while. Don't wake me up if there's nothing else." After Imperial Sky finished speaking, he walked into the room. Guopai immediately ordered that no one should disturb the room in the north. The people in Bugyaku were all very disciplined. No one would go against Guopai's orders. I still don't believe that he's the Beast Emperor. He was a godlike existence back then. Not to mention the Jade Emperor. Even my sister was polite when she mentioned the Beast Emperor. How could it be this person in front of us? Yuer pouted. "It doesn't matter if he's the Beast Emperor or not. We're using him now. When the time comes, let him stay." Guopai said with a smile. Yuer nodded. "I'm thinking about it now. Who's the Milord he was talking about?" Someone who can make the Beast Emperor respect him so much is definitely not an ordinary person. Guopai and Yuer walked into the room and said with a smile, "Yeah, my sister didn't mention it to me. If I return to the heaven realm later, I'll ask my sister." Yuer said with a smile, "I originally wanted to live a good life with true Lord in the human world for 100 years. I didn't expect that in just a few years my good life would end." "Hee, what kind of good life do you want?" "Yuer, do you want to protect our child with a formation so that he won't come out? Do you want to have a Nezitu?" Guopai looked at Yuer with a naughty smile. Yuer's face turned red. "Big bad guy. When did you find out?" Yuer leaned on Guopai and asked softly, "I found out a long time ago. Yuer didn't want to tell me, so I naturally didn't ask. However, he's a life in the human world. There's no reason for you to not let him come out and see his parents. I already broke the formation last time. You can't be a mother in the heavenly court. Since you're in the human world, who would dare to gossip about you being a mother?" Guopai said loudly. Yuer nodded. The two of them started doing things that were not suitable for children in the room in broad daylight. Stud horse. Before dinner, the two of them walked out of the room. Yuer said softly to Guopai with a red face. Guopai chuckled and reached out his hand to touch Yuer's belly. A boy and a girl. Now, he had both children. If the calamity in the human world could pass this time, he was prepared to have a house full of children and grandchildren. Thinking of this, Guopai became happy. During dinner, Guopai told everyone about Yuer's pregnancy. A group of people hurriedly protected Yuer. Then, a group of people began to crusade against Guopai. Halfway through dinner, Guopai used the excuse of answering a phone call and flew towards 531. "Big bad guy. We'll deal with him the next time he comes back," Lin Shuang said loudly. Little Meng Meng was the happiest. Knowing that Yuer's mother had a baby in her belly, little Meng Meng had already surrounded Yuer and looked at her for more than 10 minutes, making Yuer blush. Due to the joint efforts of several parties, the Great Martial Arts Dojo had opened 1,300 medical centers in Huaxia, 730 in the United States, 910 in Russia, and a total of 3,300 in other countries around the world. Even Japan and Korea had close to 300 dojos in each country. Of course, once the dojos were opened, whether or not people would come was another matter. Chapter 676. When Guopao returned to the 531 First Army, he directly distributed the more than 80,000 martial practitioners from the 531 First Army's training ground to more than 6,000 medical centers around the world. The promotion of the Great Martial Artist Dojo was very effective. In about half a month, more than 40 million apprentices had registered with the Great Martial Artist Dojo. Those who met the minimum requirements of the Great Martial Artist Dojo had exceeded 25 million. Whether I have saved or harmed these people, I will only know after 4 years. I hope I did the right thing this time. Guopao whispered as he looked at the daily reports of the Great Martial Arts Dojo situation. "Father, that mind-reading sage is making a big move this time. We don't have to do this at all. Why do we give him 5 years? With our current strength, taking down the human world is not a problem," Dream Demon said softly to a black-clothed old man. "Dream, don't you think it will be boring if we take down the human world now?" "Mind-reading sage, some things are not as simple as you think. I can't tell you now. There's still 4 years. After 4 years, I will tell you about me and this guy." Haha, he actually wants to use the human world's strength to deal with my billions of demon soldiers. What a fantasy. I want to see how you can beat me in this life. After the black-clothed man finished speaking, he disappeared in front of the 5 devil sons. So Father knows everything that is happening outside. Since he knows, we don't have to worry. For years will pass in the blink of an eye. Lustful Demon said with a smile, "Father is right. It is indeed boring to deal with ordinary people. However, it will be interesting to deal with Wu Xiao." A few days after the 531 Army's training ground was cleared, Futaba returned to Bugyaku. When Guopai saw Futaba, he naturally knew what was going on. "Boss, we have almost completed the task you gave us. However, it will be troublesome if we bring all of them to Bugyaku," Futaba said softly. Where are they now? Guopai asked with a smile. This time, Futaba had done a good job. They're all in the East Sea, on the island we used to take care of, Futaba said with a smile. They're all busy. Mao is watching them train. All right, let's set off today. I found a good instructor for them. I'm sure they'll be able to improve their strength quickly, Guopai said with a smile as he walked straight into the north room of Bugyaku's backyard. Ever since Utian entered the northern room of Bugyaku's backyard, he had never come out. No one disturbed Utian either. Today, Guopai gently pushed the door open. Mr. Utian, let's go out and do some exercise today, Guopai said with a smile. Utian slowly opened his eyes and stood up. He nodded at Guopai, who was smiling. It's been half a year. Time really flies. Let's go. Bring me out to have a look. Guopai, very good. You've even found the descendant of the six-eared macaque. Haha, looks like this is going to be interesting, Utian said with a smile as he walked out of the room and looked at Futaba. Let's go. There are more interesting things to come, Guopai said with a smile. Futaba was a little uncomfortable under Utian's stare. Seeing Guopai and Utian come out together, he did not say anything. The three of them flew towards the East Sea together. Back then, Guopao, Harry too, and the others stayed on an isolated island. The island had completely changed. It was now 3 times bigger than before. Looking from afar, the island was bustling with activity. There were animals as small as squirrels and foxes, as big as tigers and lions. There were even dozens of African elephants. Guopao was stunned. Utian was shocked as well. Huda and Mao were the first to see Guopai and the other 2 land on the island. Huda shouted for them to stop. All the birds and beasts that had lined up in groups suddenly quieted down. Master Bad, we found all the beasts you asked us to find. It's a little troublesome to find all of them, but this time we found some people to help. After being trained by Boss, they'll definitely be useful, Huda said with a smile. Huda chuckled. However, the moment his gaze fell on Utian, he almost reverted back to his original form. He forcefully suppressed the power of his bloodline and quickly ran to a corner. Guopai, you want me to train this pile of trash? Utian looked at Guopai and said with a smile. Mr. Utian, that's not right. I can't say that they're trash. Although only a few of them have awakened their intelligence or inherited their blood, the great demon has hundreds of millions of demon soldiers. To ensure that we don't lose, we have to at least have the aura, Guopai said with a smile. Just based on them? How do you want me to train them to have the aura? Utian looked at the beasts that were trembling in fear because of him and shook his head. He looked at Guopai and asked. Guopai picked up a squirrel from the ground. The little squirrel looked at Guopai pitifully. Suddenly, Guopai channeled a bit of the power of merit into the little squirrel's body. The little squirrel that was scared out of its wits suddenly became a little more energetic. It looked at Guopai excitedly, but it also looked at Utian carefully and hid in a corner. Using the power of merit to awaken the intelligence of ordinary birds and beasts. There are at least 80 million different species of beasts in front of us. Guopai, do you know how much power of merit is needed? Utian couldn't help but ask. I don't know if I have enough power of merit now, but I don't have any better ideas. Merit can be earned after spending it. If we can help the human world survive this catastrophe, we can have as much power of merit as we want, Guopai said with a smile. You and the Great Demon are quite similar in some ways. Both of you like to gamble and don't care about the gains and losses. Leave these little fellows to me. You can keep the power of merit first. I'll choose the ones that you need to use your power of merit to awaken their intelligence. As for the Rottenwood, just set them free. As soon as Utian finished speaking, he walked to the front of the beasts. With just a glance, the beasts that didn't dare to move became even more obedient. Sai, if I wasn't trapped back then, the beasts wouldn't be in this state now, Utian said with a shake of his head. Utian shook his head and said, following which, Utian's nascent soul suddenly came out of his body. His entire body emitted rays of golden light, which entered the bodies of all the beasts. In just a moment, the entire island was filled with a terrifying aura. Just as Guopai was thinking about what happened just now, the 6 of them suddenly let out a loud roar. The 6 of them had all formed their beast cores. Guopai was shocked by the situation in front of him. The 6 of them were at the peak of the core formation stage after transforming, but it was extremely difficult for Xian beasts to form their golden cores. At this time, Guopai naturally hoped that they would break through on their own. Although using pills could help them break through easily, it would definitely affect their cultivation in the future. He didn't expect that the 6 of them would break through together today. Thank you, great demon, for your help. The 6 of them knelt in front of Yu Tian's nascent soul and said loudly. Then, 80 million different species of birds and beasts knelt in front of Yu Tian in their own way. Only then can they be called Xian beasts. This is more like the beasts. 40 million is a little too little, Yu Tian said with a smile. Chapter 677. Guopai looked at the beasts on the island. Half of them had completely changed, although it wasn't as obvious as when he used the power of virtue to awaken their intelligence. Guopai could feel that these beasts were no longer ordinary beasts. Just like what Yu Tian said, half of them were now Xian beasts. Guopai, think of a way to set free the 40 million beasts that haven't evolved yet. Take them back to where they came from. As for the remaining 40 million, we'll have to think of a long-term plan, Yu Tian said softly. Guopai nodded. Setting free 40 million beasts that haven't evolved yet was neither difficult nor easy. Futaba and the others spent a year to find 80 million beasts. If they were to set free 40 million beasts at once, it would be up to Futaba and the others to do it. Guopai thought for a moment, then took out a few pirated Chinquin pouches and handed them to Futaba and the others. Following that, the island fell into a panic. After the panic subsided, they suddenly felt that the number of beasts on the island had decreased significantly. Guopai, it's not impossible for these beasts to participate in the war between humans and demons in 4 years. However, they must at least reach the stage of fasting for humans. Otherwise, I won't let them participate in the war. Yu Tian looked at Guopai and said softly. Yu Tian had used a secret method to awaken the beast's bloodline. Although their intelligence hadn't been awakened, the beasts could reach the Hotian stage. However, it wouldn't be easy for them to enter the fasting stage. I've already refined 10 million marrow cleansing pills for the beasts. After consuming the pills, they should at least reach the Xiantian stage. After that, I'll use the power of virtue to awaken their intelligence. At that time, the number of beasts that can enter the fasting stage will depend on their luck, Guopai said softly. Marrow cleansing pills? It's a pretty good item. Continue to refine it, but speed up. If they can enter the enlightening period within 2 years, leave the matter of entering the fasting period to me. After Yu Tian finished speaking, he walked into the crowd of Xian beasts. Guopai knew that Yu Tian wasn't joking. He nodded and said a few words to Qi Yun and Li Feng. Then, he directly rushed to the Eastern Sea auction house. Bad guy, I was preparing to go inland to find you. I didn't expect you to come. Ding Liu directly found Guopai after he arrived at the Eastern Sea auction house. Brother, what happened in the Eastern Sea recently? Guopai looked at Ding Liu and asked softly. Our auction house's people found traces of the person who gave us the insect corpses last time. Although we didn't catch the person, we found 34,000 insect corpses. These insect corpses are different from the ones last time. I asked our pharmacist to take a look. The pharmacist said that these insect corpses have a faint feeling of resurrection. Ding Liu said softly. Let's go. Take me to have a look. Guopai said loudly. Ding Liu didn't dare to stay. He brought Guopai to a place where the auction house stored things. All the insect corpses are here. Ding Liu pointed at the room, full of insect corpses, and said softly. There were 4 types of insect corpses. Other than the 2 types that he had seen before, there were 2 that Guopai had never seen before. The insect corpses' bodies weren't black stone, but a kind of red. How are the people from the Ding family who were infected with the corpse poison? Guopai asked softly as he played with the insect corpses. After you left last time, those people that you diagnosed as incurable all died in less than a week. We burned all the corpses and threw the ashes into the sea. The others are all fine now, Ding Luoyu replied. I will take some of these things with me. I recently met an expert who should know the situation with these insect corpses. You must keep the rest of the insect corpses well. Guopai reminded repeatedly. Ding Luoyu nodded. Guopai took 100 of each insect corpse and left the Eastern Sea auction house. Returning to the isolated island once again, Guopai was surprised by the Xian beasts on the island. The Xian beasts on the island were divided into two groups. Guopai could feel that at least 3 million Xian beasts had entered the enlightening stage. More than 10 million Xian beasts were above the innate stage. Your marrow cleansing pill is not bad. It is more effective for Xian beasts than for humans. Yu Tian said with a smile. I am looking forward to seeing all the Xian beasts advance to the fasting stage. Mr. Yu Tian, there is one thing that I am very puzzled about. How did you manage to make each of these people take a marrow cleansing pill? Moreover, I can feel that all the Xian beasts that took the marrow cleansing pill are the best of the best. Guopai asked with a trace of confusion. It must be known that Guopai had spent 2 whole days giving out marrow cleansing pills to 80,000 soldiers. Humans have selfish motives, but Xian beasts do not. I divided the marrow cleansing pills according to the 10 million Xian beast strength line. Then, I sprinkled the marrow cleansing pills on the ground. Those who reached the line could take it. Those who did not were not allowed to take it. It only took a few minutes, Yu Tian said with a smile. Guopai nodded in admiration. He had to admit that Xian beasts were sometimes much easier to manage than humans. His initial worries about the Xian beasts were all resolved after Yu Tian's appearance. Mr. Yu Tian, take a look at these things. Do you recognize them? Guopai took out 4 insect corpses and handed them to Yu Tian. Where did you get these things? Yu Tian snatched the insect corpses and asked loudly. Guopai, this time, the demon race is preparing to play a big game of chess. You have to prepare for the worst. What did Mr. Yu Tian see? Guopai asked softly. You should recognize these things. They are ancient demon insects. Their larvae can reach the peak of the Xiantian realm and reach the enlightened realm in 7 days. Larvae can grow into adults in 1 day. Their reproduction speed is even more terrifying. This was the trump card of the demon race. The demon race must have found the place where the queen insect was sealed. With so many insect corpses, they will definitely rescue the queen insect. If you want to win this war, you have to find the queen insect before the great demon race, Yu Tian said loudly. I saw the ancient demon insect's corpses a year ago, but I did not find any clues about the queen insect, Guopai said softly. Find it. Use all your strength to find it. Even if you have to give up these Xian beasts and the human race, Wu Xiu, you must first find the ancient demon insect's queen insect. Yu Tian said loudly. When I was trapped by the demon lord, did the demon race summon the ancient demon insects? Who was the one who defeated them in the end? Legend has it that the Buddhist sect Dipankara Buddha used his life's wick to completely seal the ancient demon insect's queen insect. That's what was written in the heavenly book. Guopai was stunned for a moment before he said softly, Buddhist sect? How could the Buddhist sect be so kind? Yu Tian shook his head and said, If I'm not wrong, the key to the war between the humans and demons lies in the Buddhist sect. Because the Buddhist sect is no longer the Buddhist sect of the past. The current Buddhist sect belongs to the demon race. It's very likely that the Dipankara Buddha of the past was the demon lord. This is impossible. Guopai was completely confused by Yu Tian's words and said softly, If it's really as you guessed, then it's too scary. The demon race actually spent hundreds of thousands of years to play such a big game of chess. Chapter 678. Guopai chatted with Yu Tian for a long time. When Futaba and the others released the beasts that had yet to gain sentience, Guopai gave them a few more instructions. As for the training of the Xian beasts, they were to listen to Yu Tian's arrangements. 1 year later, Guopai would return here and use the power of merit to gain sentience for the Xian beasts. After making the arrangements, Guopai hurriedly left the isolated island in the East Sea and returned to the imperial capital, Bugyaku. Brother Bad Guy, why are you back so soon this time? How's the matter with the Xian beasts? Even the Beast Emperor is helping us. Even if a calamity really happens in the human world, we should be able to deal with it. Yuer said softly when she sensed that Guopai had returned and came out of the Wuji Palace. Yuer, I chatted with Yu Tian for a long time when I returned from the EC. Yu Tian speculated a huge piece of news. If this news is true, then the calamity in the human world is not something we can deal with. Even if the heavenly court sends people to the human world, they will all die. Guopai's words made Yu widen her eyes. What news? Yuer asked softly. It's about the demon Venerable. Yu Tian speculated that the ancient Buddha Dipankara might be the reincarnation of the demon Venerable. The current Buddhist sect is the demon race of the past, Guopai said without hiding anything. How is that possible? I saw the ancient Buddha Dipankara once when I followed my sister back then. How can such a powerful Buddha be a demon? That's impossible. Yuer shook her head and said, Yuer, let's think about what happened recently. Let's not talk about the distant things. That day, someone gave Meng Meng a string of Buddha plants. I thought about it again. The Buddha beads belong to the Buddhist sect. Why would someone give a little girl something from the Buddhist sect at that time? Also, why would the ancient Buddha Dipankara save the medicine demon and attack us last time? Also, the incident in Mount Shu happened last time. According to the theory, if someone really wanted to deal with Huaxia and Wuxiu, why would they target Mount Shu, Maoshan, Kunlun, and Wudong instead of Shaolin? If we connect all these things together, Yu Tian's speculation may not be wrong, Guopai said softly. Brother bad guy, have you ever thought about it? If Yu Tian and your speculation are right, why would all these things in the human world fall on you? If someone really played a big game of chess, what do you represent in this game? I don't know what my sister knows. If she knew that the demon Venerable was related to the Buddhist sect, she would not let Wu Gang go to the mortal world at this critical moment, Yuer said softly. Yes, it seems that everything is caused by me going to the mortal world. Is there any relationship between me and the demon Venerable? And Yuan Tiangang said that I was a variable in the human world that day. What the F***CK does this have to do with me? A little banished immortal in the human world. Guopai could not figure it out and could not help cursing. Brother bad guy, don't think about it if you can't figure it out. Even if you figure it out, what can you do? Whether the great demon has something to do with the Buddhist sect or not, we have to prepare what we should prepare. It's better to be prepared for everything. Yuer looked at Guopai's painful expression and said softly, I've already said this a few years ago. No matter who is playing this game of chess, since I'm the chess piece, when the time comes, what belongs to me will be mine. No one can take away what belongs to me. We'll just have to wait and see. After Guopao finished speaking, he returned to his room with Yuer. You're finally enlightened. Your sister's painstaking efforts are not in vain. Now that the Immortal is understood, the mystery on my side is also solved. Let's go to Hongjun Ancestor to ask for him. I'd like to see what Hongjun has to say now. After the appearance of the Beast Emperor, the heaven's secret that had been concealed for several days reappeared. The immortals of the heavenly court began to use various means to check if there was anything going on in the human world. However, they didn't find anything. With the reappearance of the heaven's secret, Chang, he already knew what was going to happen this time. After a while, Hongjun, who was preaching, was interrupted. Chang, dressed in white, appeared in Hongjun's Dao field. All the disciples of Hongjun were dumbfounded. Hongjun couldn't help but shake his head. Then, with a wave of his hand, the two appeared in another Dao field of Hongjun. Under a tea tree, Hongjun reached out and took a few tea leaves and made tea. I don't know what the fairy is here for this time. Hongjun Ancestor asked with a smile. Hongjun, do you know what I hate most about you? I hate your face the most. You clearly know the purpose of my visit this time, but you still have to ask again. Chang, he said angrily. If the fairy doesn't say, I naturally don't know why the fairy is here. Hongjun was not angry. He took a sip of tea and said with a smile, when you let Chun Qingyuan descend to the mortal world that day, did you already know Chun Qingyuan's identity? Chang, he asked loudly. Don't tell me you don't know the identity of mind, reading True Monarch. If you don't know, why did you let your personal maidservant accompany him in the mortal world that day? The two said casually, Hongjun, don't play dumb with me. If you didn't intervene that day, how could Chunqing Yuan descend to the mortal world? You know everything, don't you? I'll ask you directly now. Is Chunqing Yuan him? Chong, he stood up and asked loudly. So what if he is? So what if he isn't? In the past, we went our separate ways. Now, we should still go our separate ways. The matter between him and that person should be solved by them. We don't need to intervene, Hong Jun said with a smile. Okay, I understand. So the two of you already knew what was going on. It's just that Chunqing Yuan and I didn't know. Good, very good. Hong Jun, I won't say anything else. My people have been sealed by you for 10,000 years. Isn't it time to release them? Chong, he said loudly with a fierce glare. Just let them go. Even if you reorganize the Dark Knight Corps, you can't do anything about what happened in the mortal world. Back then, you trusted him so much. Why can't you trust him again? Hong Jun said with a smile. You don't need to worry about that. After one incense stick's worth of time, if I don't see the person I want to see in the Moon Palace, then you don't need to see the 3,000 disciples of your Dao sect. After saying that, Chong, he waved her lily-white hand and disappeared from Hongjuan's Dao sect. The 3,000 disciples of Hongjuan's Dao sect also disappeared. Crazy woman. Hongjun shook his head and said. Then he stretched out his hand and opened a space. 8 people were brought out from the space. I don't know if bringing you out is a blessing or a curse. Everything is your karma. You can go. After saying that, the 8 people disappeared from Hongjuan's sight. A moment later, the 8 people appeared in the Moon Palace. Ha ha, so you can make Hongjun admit defeat like this. Humph, you actually dare to lie to me. What bullshit heavenly Tao. If he can survive this tribulation, he will break through to the 22nd layer of heavenly Tao. Chong, he looked at the 8 people kneeling on the ground. With a wave of her lily-white hand, the 8 people stood up. Boss, Hongjun let us out. A good-natured guy looked at Chong, and said with a smile, Let you out? When has Hongjun ever been kind? It was this mother who let you out. Chong, he said with a smile. Wu Gang has gone to the lower realms. However, Monkey, Yang Jian, and Kong Xian are all here. The Dark Knight has finally gathered. Boss, you are here. Why don't I see the Divine Emperor? A quick-witted guy asked with a smile. Have you been trapped for 10,000 years? Have you become stupid? You have followed the Divine Emperor for so many years. Have you ever seen him rest? He has gone to the lower realms. Whether or not he can come back alive is another matter. You should reorganize the Dark Knight first. When he needs you, he will naturally come find you. Chong, he said with a smile. Chapter 679. On Mount Song in Huaxia, Guopai was like an ordinary tourist. It was his first time climbing Mount Song. Those at the foot of the mountain had been shaved, but they did not have Buddha's heart. Therefore, they were not Shaolin disciples. Guopai's route was very clear. He would first go to Mount Song, then to Tibet, hoping to find some traces of Buddhism. Benefactor, are you burning incense or praying to Buddha? Guopai wandered around Mount Song for a while. Suddenly, a monk appeared in front of Guopai and said with a smile, Now you look like a monk. Guopai looked at the monk in front of him, who looked like a Buddha, and said with a smile, I want to see the abbot of Shaolin. Master, please lead the way. Benefactor, is your surname Gua? The monk looked at Guopai and asked. Yes. Guopai was stunned and answered with a smile. Benefactor, please come with me. Master has been waiting for you for a long time. After saying that, the monk walked quickly up the mountain. At this time, Guopai saw the monk's cultivation clearly. He had reached the gold core realm. Guopai was shocked. It seemed that he had found the right place. If it was a blessing, it would not be a disaster. If it was a disaster, he could not avoid it. Guopai followed the monk and walked quickly to the top of the mountain. Master is there. Benefactor, please. After the monk finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared. Guopai looked at a thin figure sitting cross-legged under a big tree. There was no formation around, but Guopai could not see the old man's face clearly. A chill went into Guopai's mind. Who is this person? Guopai quickly thought in his mind. The old man turned around and looked at Guopai and said, "Perfected cultivator, since you are already here, why don't you come over? Are you afraid that I will cheat you? Dipankara Buddha, it's really you." Guopai could not help but shout when he saw the old man's face clearly. "Didn't you already guess it was me? Why can't it be me?" The old man said with a smile. That's right, Guopai saw the old man's appearance clearly. He was the Dipankara Buddha that he had seen once at the peach banquet in the heavenly court. "True monarch, are you not coming? If you don't come, how can I solve your doubts?" Randang said with a smile. Guopai nodded. He walked to the old man's side and sat down cross-legged. However, a trace of the mind-reading art landed on the old man. During his 6 years in the human world, Guopai only used the mind-reading art when he had just arrived in the human world. In the following few years, Guopai was afraid of being contaminated by karma and rarely used the mind-reading art. "Perfected Lord, if you have any questions, just ask Randang. There's no need to use the mind-reading technique." Randang also resisted the mind-reading art landing on him. He smiled and said, "This mind-reading art was stored in the heavenly book." "Perfected Lord, you obtained it by chance. You know the mind-reading art, so do I. Perfected Lord, you should put away your mind. This mind-reading art is useless against me." When Guopai heard the old man's words, he was shocked. He had obtained the mind-reading art from the heavenly book. He had read the heavenly book, but he could not find who had left the mind-reading art behind. He did not expect to find the person today. The two of them sat cross-legged for about 2 hours. Guopai did not speak, and neither did the old man. After 2 hours, the old man smiled. "You want to know if I am the Demon King, and you want to know who you are? Am I right?" The old man said with a smile. Guopai was shocked. Then he nodded. "I am Randang, and I am the Demon King. You are the Demon King, and you are the Demon King," the old man said with a smile. "Actually, there is no harm in telling you everything. If I don't tell you, someone else will." Guopai looked at the old man and remained silent. "I am the ancient Buddha Dipankara. My other identity is the Demon King. In the 3 realms, there should only be 4 people who know of my identity, including you. The others should only know of it recently. There is nothing to hide about who I am. I have less than 4 years to fight you. Dream Demon, Blood Demon, Poison Demon, Lustful Demon, and Medicine Demon are my children. In 4 years, my 8 demon generals will return. Perfected Lord, how do you plan to deal with them?" The old man said with a smile. "Sir, since you say you are the ancient Buddha Dipankara, why did you start this war between humans and demons? Monks are merciful. Why did you start a massacre?" Guopai asked softly, "Why did I start a massacre? You asked me why I started a massacre? If I have to give you an answer, there are only 3 words. Because of you." The old man suddenly stood up and said loudly with a ferocious expression, "If I want to kill you now, it would be as easy as crushing an ant. However, I can't kill you because I want to see how you can be stronger than me in this life." 18 reincarnations. You were a Buddha 10 times and a godly emperor 7 times. Why do I have to be a demon every time? Karma of the world? What kind of bullsh asterisk T karma is this? The old man said angrily as he stood up. You were a Buddha for 10 lifetimes. You became a Buddha when you stood, sat, slept, woke up, smiled, cried, did good, did evil, saved people, and killed people. Why do I have to be a demon every time? You are a Buddha, and I am a demon king. You are a godly emperor, and I am a demon king. I want to see who you will be if I become a Buddha. The old man roared. Guopai looked at the angry old man in front of him, and his mind went blank. Buddha, godly emperor, demon king, what does all of this have to do with me, a lowly banished immortal? Karma. I just want to live a good life in the human world for 100 years. Did the old man recognize the wrong person? Perfected Lord, Chun Xing Yuan, I'll give you a fair chance. I know you can't understand what I'm saying. For years, you still have 4 years of good days. After 4 years, you will know everything. You will know how ridiculous you are in this life. 18th life, I've won this time. Let's go. The 5 demons have gathered, and the world is in chaos. I'm the demon lord and also the Buddha. I'd like to see who can stop me in this life. After the old man finished speaking, he disappeared under the tree. 2 hours later, Guopai woke up from his meditation. Looking at the futon under the tree, he gained something but also gained nothing. Buddha, godly emperor, demon king, everything was too vague. However, there was one thing that Guopai was sure of. 4 years later, the war between humans and demons was inevitable. Originally, Guopai planned to go to Tibet from Mount Song. However, since he got what he wanted to know, he directly gave up the trip to Tibet and returned to the capital. However, Guopai did not tell anyone what happened to Mount Song. 8 months later, Yuer gave birth to a son. Guopai named him Guobuyu. Apart from the family members of Guopai in Bugyaku, Guopai and his wife knew about this child. Even Guopai did not tell Li Yao, Jia Yuan, and the others. Buyu was not redundant. Anyway, Guopai had prepared for the worst. If what the old man said was true, that he was a Buddha and a demon king, how could he win this war? Chapter 680. 3 years passed very quickly. Little Meng Meng was already 8 years old. Because of a nascent soul stone that Wu Gang gave her, little Meng Meng's strength increased very quickly. When she was 6 years old, the little girl was already at the peak of the Golden Core realm. However, this was not the most legendary thing in Bugyaku. Guobuyu had just celebrated his 3rd birthday and had already entered the Golden Core Grand Ascension realm. Even Guopai did not expect that his son would have such a fortuitous encounter. Meng Meng, where did little brother go? Didn't I say that I have something important to do today? Look after little brother. Yuer looked at the little girl and asked, Little mommy, little brother went out with Uncle Wu Gang. They should have gone to the bottom of the East Sea to search for treasures. They should be back soon, little Meng Meng said with a smile. Shui Yunzi looked at little Meng Meng and little Ling Mo. He was very satisfied with these 2 disciples of the human world. However, when he thought about how his lifespan was approaching, Shui Yunzi could not help but shake his head. After 3 days in the sky, Tai Bai Jinxing, Heavenly Kingly, and Zhuling Shun once again came to the Moon Palace. Chang, he didn't say anything and just smiled as she looked at everyone. Zhuling Shun poured out a bunch of items from his Chinquan pouch. The items were very messy, and there were all kinds of weapons. There were about 10 million of them. To be able to find so many weapons in such a short time, Zhuling Shun could be considered to have searched the entire heavenly court. Now, 21 million. The weapons that the heavenly soldiers and generals have replaced in the past 100,000 years are all here, Heavenly Kingly said with a smile and handed a Chinquan bag to Chang. Now, this old man is a little worse than the 2 of you. I can't enter the armory of the heavenly soldiers and generals. I have roughly found 6 million weapons. I hope it will be of some use to you, fairy. Tai Bai Jinxing said and handed a gourd to Chang. Chang, he took the gourd and immediately felt something different. Tai Bai Jinxing was going all out for these weapons. He actually collected all the things that were placed in the spatial turbulence during the ancient Great War of the 3 realms. The others collected about 17 million weapons together. In total, they had about 60 million weapons. Chang, he took a deep breath. Being able to get so many weapons seemed to have exceeded her expectations. Thank you very much. I'll accept your gifts. When the time comes, I'll definitely give you all the benefits you deserve. Chang, he said with a smile. She then exchanged some pleasantries with Heavenly King Li, Tai Bai, and the others. They did not stay in the Moon Palace for long and left with anticipation. If Chang, he said there would be benefits, then there would definitely be benefits. Back then, one of the 3 great generals, Yang Jian, had obtained the Eye of Reincarnation, which shocked the 3 realms because of Chang Yi's words. Chang Yi put away the weapons one by one and said softly, Lord God Emperor, little Li has done everything I can, but what will the outcome of this battle be if I can't do it? Guopai returned to Bugyaku. Bugyaku had already gathered everyone. This was the most complete gathering of people in Bugyaku in the past 3 years. Futaba, Air Mao, and the others had followed Yu Tian back from the EC. Wu Gang had brought Daju back from the 531. The other experts that were sent out had all returned to Bugyaku in 3 days. Everyone, there's still more than a month before the 5-year deadline. I know that everyone has done their best, but I don't know what the outcome will be this time, Guopai said softly. In the past 3 years, the dojos around the world had cultivated 70 million wuxiu, 34 million wuxiu who were above the fasting period, and 40 million xianbis who were above the fasting period under Guopai's mere empowerment had reached the fasting period. The world was showing a scene of martial arts cultivation. I wonder how the 74 million wuxiu who are above the fasting period will fare against the demon soldiers, Guopai said softly. I'm not worried about the Xian beasts, but I'm afraid that the human race's wuxiu won't be united, Ao Feng said softly. Ao Feng said softly. Everyone nodded. In the last war, the strength of the human race was much more tyrannical than now. At that time, all the martial cultivators were not restricted by the rules of the mortal world. When the human race and the great devil were at the peak of the battle, some of the martial cultivators of the human race betrayed them. In the end, it was the immortals who benefited. We've done everything we can. If there's really a lack of unity, there's nothing I can do. Guopai said softly. There was still a month before the 5-year deadline. It was useless to prepare anything now. Guopai had already done his best to deal with the demon soldiers against wuxiu. If the battle starts, how should we deal with the 5 sons of the demon emperor and the 8 great demon generals? Shui Yunzi asked softly. Lord Shui, when the time comes, you just have to deal with the 8 great demon generals. Leave the rest to us, Guopai said with a smile. Shui Yunzi's face was filled with black lines. Back then, Ming Su alone was able to turn the entire dragon race into such a mess. I wonder how strong the 8 great demon generals are now. Against the 8 great demon generals, I still have a chance of winning one-on-one. But if it's 1 against 3, I think I might be sealed again, Shui Yunzi said softly. Master, you can deal with one of the 8 great demon generals. Ming Ming and I will each deal with one. Grandpa Ao, Uncle Ji, and Uncle Yuan will each deal with one. Auntie, you will deal with 1 each. As for the remaining 2, we could just find 2 random people to deal with them. Master, how can you boost the morale of others and diminish your own? Nangong Lingmao said with a smile. Little Lingmao, when the battle starts, you have to look after little Meng Meng for me. Don't try to show off. Although you are also in the peak gold core realm, the means of the demon generals are definitely not something you can deal with. Shui Yunzi looked at little Lingmao with a serious face and said, Lingmao, when the battle starts, you kids will stay in the Limitless Palace. If the battle doesn't go as we predicted, I will completely seal the Limitless Palace. You just have to cultivate inside. When you reach the Ascension Realm, you can come out and directly ascend to the Heavenly Realm, Guopai said softly. If there's a calamity in the human realm, don't come out. If the great demon generals can take over the human realm, the Heavenly Court won't have an easy time either. After Guopai finished speaking, Yu stood up and shook her head. The few of them chatted for a while. In the end, they didn't decide on the method to deal with the demon race. When the time comes, they could only improvise according to the situation. Lord Shui, there's still a month left. You can stay in Bugyaku. I will go out again. If we are lucky, we can at least improve our strength. Guopai said with a smile. Although his expression was gentle, the results of the divination a few days ago didn't make Guopai happy. Big brother bad guy, are you going to the 9 heavens, purgatory? Yuer asked Guopai softly after Shui Yunzi left. I went there once a few days ago. There was a problem in the 9 heavens purgatory, but I don't know what the problem is. So, I'm going to go there again, Guopai said softly. Yuer nodded. At this time, there was a problem in the 9 heavens mansion. The Yuan sage of the 9 heavens was playing chess with a monk. It was difficult to tell who would win. This game of chess had been going on for more than a month. Yuan sage, you have lost this game of chess. Shouldn't you give me what I want? The monk placed a chess piece. The Yuan sage of the 9 heavens shook his head and threw a gourd to the monk. The monk smiled and received it with satisfaction. Randang, your grievances have nothing to do with me. Since I have given you what you want, please leave, the Yuan sage of the 9 heavens said softly. Your 9 heavens purgatory is not bad. I will come to you after I deal with that guy. Chapter 681. Dipankara had just come out of the Jochian mansion when he met Guopai at the bottom of the sea. Haha, what a coincidence. I haven't seen you for 3 years, and both your strength and your subordinates have become stronger. It seems like you are ready to fight the demon race. You must be here to ask for weapons from the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens. Go on, I have already asked for a lot. I don't know if you have more, Guopai said with a smile. Guopai shook his head as he watched Dipankara turn and leave. It seemed like the demon race had also thought of his situation. However, Guopai still did not understand why Dipankara had become a demon. What was even more puzzling was his identity. Sir Yuan Sage, there seems to be a problem with the teleportation array back then. I seem to be late, Guopai said softly as he looked at the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens, who was guarding the chessboard. You are late. You should have met Dipankara just now, right? It seems like you still don't understand what is going on. Come over. I don't have anything else, but I know something about you. Let me tell you about it. I don't seem to have made any progress in this life anyway, the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens said with a smile. Guopai was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly sat down beside the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens. He finally had an answer to the matter that had been troubling him for a long time. Do you really not know what happened to you in the human world? The Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens asked with a smile. The Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens looked at Guopao and said with a smile. It had been 10 years in the human world. He had chosen to enter samsara back then and had definitely gotten lost when he first entered samsara. However, he had broken through samsara 13 times and spent 7 years at the latest to find himself. How could Guopao not know who he was? Sir Yuan Sage, I am a banished immortal of the heavenly court. Who else could I be? Guopai did not know how to answer. There were records of reincarnation in the sky book, but Guopai did not dare to believe that he had a past life. I'm not completely sure about your identity, but the karma of this life and all the karma in the world are on you. If I am not wrong, you should be the true body of an almighty above the 18th heaven, the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens said with a smile. Cough, cough, cough. Sir, Yuan Sage. 18 levels of the heavenly layer? When I was in the heavenly court, I didn't even go up to the 9th heaven. How could I be an almighty of the 18th heaven? Sir Yuan Sage, please don't joke around, Guopai said as he shook his head. You don't believe me? Yes, if I were you, I wouldn't believe it either. The Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens said with a smile. Have you not thought about it? You're just a celestial of the sky court and a banished immortal. How could you possibly go up against the ancient Buddha Dipankara? What kind of existence is Dipankara? In the 3 realms, everyone who sees Dipankara has to bow their heads and respectfully address him as Buddha. Do you really think that Dipankara is looking for trouble with you because he's bored? Guopai was stunned by what the Yuan Sage of the Nine Skies said. Sir Yuan Sage, what do you mean? I really don't know why the ancient Buddha Dipankara is related to the demon race. He told me once that I was a Buddha 10 times and a divine emperor 7 times. He also said that he was a demon venerable and a Buddha. What does that mean? I'm not sure who that person is, Guopai said as he shook his head. So Dipankara has already told you. Then I can confirm your identity, but I can't tell you, the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens said with a smile. You were in the top 3 of the 9 heavens purgatory back then. This time, I gave Dipankara a gourd of magic treasures. I can't let you go back empty-handed. Go into the 9 heavens purgatory and finish the rest of the journey. Then, you'll know who you are. Dipankara won't be able to say anything if I do that. After the Yuan Sage of the Nine Heavens said that, he waved his hand and Guopai disappeared from the 9 heavens mansion before Guopai could say anything. Sir Yuan Sage, I don't have that much time. If a war breaks out in the human world, please let me out. I'll come back to the 9 heavens purgatory after I settle the matters in the human world, Guopai shouted again as he disappeared. If you don't go through the 9 heavens purgatory, how are you going to settle the matters in the human world? 1 month should be enough outside, the Yuan Sage of the 9 heavens said as he slowly closed his eyes. Guopai had disappeared at the most critical moment. Although Yu could sense that Guopai was fine, the entire Bugyaku was a little impatient. Master Shui, why don't you and Uncle Ao go to the 9 heavens mansion to take a look? Nothing will happen, right? You are asked softly. Little Bad asked me to stay in the clinic. He's confident, so you don't have to worry. I've recently divined that Little Bad will have a great opportunity on this trip. We don't have to worry. Shui Yunzi was surprisingly calm. Nodded and began to reassure everyone. There were new people entering the Great Martialist Clinic every day, and there would be people breaking through almost every few days. All the instructors of the Great Martialist Clinic were now at the Golden Core Realm, and all of them knew that there would be an earth-shattering battle soon. However, most of them were soldiers, so these instructors were not nervous at all. Instead, they were looking forward to the legendary battle. The Xian beasts had UT on, so they were more united than the Great Martialist Clinic in the human world. Guopai had spent almost a few months on all the individual cultivators in the EC and basically knew that there would be a great battle soon. They also knew that the current leader of the EC was the force on the isolated island that they could not afford to provoke. There were auras of breakthroughs every day. They did not know who was on the isolated island, but they knew in their hearts that no one could afford to provoke that place. 28 days later, there were still 2 days before the great battle. Guopai still had not appeared. This time, not only Ur was anxious, but everyone in Bugyaku could not sit still. Little Bad hasn't returned yet, but there's nothing wrong with the astronomical phenomena recently. Could there be a problem with the astronomical phenomena? Shui Yunzi shook his head and said. Ur frowned. She had not been idle recently, and even went to the 9th heaven purgatory yesterday. However, she did not go in. Now that the great battle was imminent, it was really troublesome. August 22nd was the birthday of Dipankara Buddha in the human world. On the last day of the 5-year period, no one in Bugyaku rested. The sky was slightly bright, but Guopai still had not returned. Outside Bugyaku, a great array was laid. Wu Gang, Xin Yuan Hao, and Guotan Yuan stood outside the array. A terrifying aura rose from a place tens of thousands of miles away. Even Wu Gang, who was the strongest among the three, could not help but widen his eyes. He's coming, Shui Yunzi said, and flew out of the array. Then, several experts of the human race, Ao Feng, and several experts of the dragon race also flew out of the array. Little Lingma, you and Meng Meng behave yourselves. Look after your little brother. No one is allowed to leave the array. Go to Wuji Palace and stay there. Yu saw that little Lingma and Meng Meng were about to go out, but they were stopped by Ur. However, before she finished speaking, a 4-year-old boy had already stepped out of the array. Ur wanted to stop the little guy, but she saw the little guy make a face at Ur. Unexpectedly, Ur did not stop him. How strong am I now? I actually managed to deceive little mother. Chapter 682. Everyone watched Guobuyu, the youngest son of Guopao, walk to the air step by step. Finally, he squatted on Wu Gang's shoulder. Wu Gang smiled and touched little Buyu's head, but he did not send the little guy over. Wu Gang, if anything happens to my son, I will hold you responsible. Yu shouted at Wu Gang. Wu Gang nodded with a smile. Few people in Bugyaku had paid attention to little Buyu's practice. They only saw the little guy playing with several adults every day, but they did not know that the little guy often learned some magic from Wu Gang. In terms of strength, the little guy was much more powerful than many people in Bugyaku. People in Bugyaku became nervous. Conflicts had been launched in other places. The great warriors rarely opened their dojos in cheap places. The 100 million devil soldiers of the Devil Clan directly swept through some peripheral cities in the world like locusts. Someone posted a message and a few pictures on the internet, and then there was no more news. Aliens were coming. Aliens? It's not an exaggeration to say that they are aliens, but they are more terrible than aliens. People in the Great Warriors dojos who knew something about the Devil Clan said softly while looking at some pictures on the internet. This is the capital of Bugyaku. All the owners of the Great Warriors dojos listen clearly. According to the principle of nearest, the 10 medical centers will gather all the Wu Shio in the dojos together. If someone invades, kill them with all your strength. Liao notified the great warriors' dojos around the world through the internet. Brother Yao, third brother, and fourth brother are not here. Let's go out and have a look. Jia Yuan, who was at the peak of Gold Core Realm, said with a smile. Li Yao and Wang Sheng nodded, and the three of them flew out of the array directly. Li Shixin and Qiu Dayuan nodded with a smile. Their apprentices were very good. When the Devil Clan invaded, someone should be the first to fight. Old Li, you stay here. I will go with the three little guys. It has been more than 100,000 years. My old friends are coming. I will go and meet them. After Qiu Dayuan finished, he quickly rushed to Li Yao and the other two. Disciple, no matter what happens later, don't be rash and rush to the front. Master suffered such a loss in the past. Qiu Dayuan repeatedly exhorted them. The three nodded. The four of them flew very fast. In just a few minutes, they could already see the dense mass of demons in the sky. My goodness, the person on the other side seems to be at least in the fasting realm. He actually has so many demonic soldiers. Jia Yuan said softly. As soon as he finished speaking, a few more people appeared beside him. The people who came were a group of golden core experts from Wudong and Shushan. We went to Bugyaku. Little Bad wasn't in the clinic. We heard that Elder Qiu brought you here, so we followed you, Fei Tianyong said softly. Shoot, shoot, shoot down the people flying above. At this moment, the country below the demon soldiers was in chaos. All kinds of modern weapons were fired into the air as if they were worthless. Bullets fell from the sky one after another. The demon soldiers in the sky laughed as they looked at the situation on the ground. They came out. That person is Mingyu, one of the 8 great demon generals. I didn't expect him to still be alive. Qiu Dayuan looked at a person in black armor in the distance and said softly. Before he and Li Shixin were sealed, they saw Mingyu being sealed. They didn't expect him to break out of the formation. Everyone in Bugyaku knew that the demons had come out of the human world. However, they didn't know how these people came out. This was the thing that scared the people of Bugyaku the most. If the formation of the seal could be broken, what other methods could they use to deal with the demon soldiers this time? A month ago, Daipankara left Jiutian Mansion. He brought the magic treasure he obtained from Jiutian Yuan Sage back to his mansion in the human world. A 9-winged ancient demon bug was in a formation surrounded by lampshades. This was the mother bug of the ancient demon bug and also Daipankara's biggest trump card. After a month of hard work, the devil insect broke the seal. Once the mother insect came out, all the formations in the world that trapped the great devil were broken in less than 2 hours. At this time, the mother insect had turned into a human form and was together with Dipankara Buddha. Daipankara, in your previous life, you used the body of the demon king to occupy Daipankara Buddha's body. You waited for hundreds of thousands of years. People say that the demon king is impulsive and aggressive, but I don't think anyone can beat the demon king in a battle of wits. A beautiful woman said with a smile. A beautiful woman said with a smile. This woman's looks were comparable to Moon Palace's Chang'e. Demon flower, when I sealed you, did you hate me? Daipankara asked with a smile. I don't hate you. The winner takes all. If I were you, I wouldn't have just been sealed. However, this is the cycle of karma. Today, you saved me, so I have to return the favor. Tell me, what do you want me to do? Demon flower said with a smile. Ha ha ha. It's nothing major. Just help me unlock the seals on the children and the demon general. If you want to follow me to rule the human realm and eventually the 3 realms, then you can come with me. If you don't want to, I won't force you, the demon king said with a smile. Tell me where they are. I will break their seals first. I want to see how strong the demon king is after hundreds of thousands of years of accumulation, Demon Flower said with a smile. In just one day, the demon flower reproduced nearly 10,000 demon insects. Although the newly reproduced demon insects were only in the enlightening stage, they had the ability to devour the formations in the human world. In less than a day, the world's great demon sealing formation was completely opened, and the great demons were gathered. Then, they directly summoned the demon race in their sealed place, and billions of demon soldiers were produced just like that. Demon King, Demon Flower is willing to listen to your orders. Just like that, the ancient demon bug submitted to the demons. In the void, the army of the demon tribe had also noticed Xiao Daoyuan and his companions. Mingyu stared at Xiao Daoyuan. Although it had been more than 100,000 years since the battle, he still remembered this guy. Poison demon Taoist Xiao Daoyuan, the guy who had sealed him with a group of human tribe experts. All demon soldiers, listen to my order. 10,000 people in a group. Don't kill. We need to be angry and enslave the entire human world. Mingyu shouted. The million demon soldiers behind him divided into more than 100 groups and rushed to the human world. Master, what do we do now? Jia Yuan asked Xiao Daoyuan when he saw the groups of people rushing to the ground like dumplings. We can't control the things on the ground. Mingyu and I had a big grudge. If we want to leave, we have to fight with them first. Take out your magic weapons. Don't hold back. Remember, I only want you to live. Before Xiao Daoyuan finished his words, Mingyu had already led a group of people towards them. Mingyu, I only sealed you in the past. This time, it won't be so simple. Go to hell. Xiao Daoyuan said. Although everyone was at the peak of the golden elixir realm, their strength was different. With Xiao Daoyuan as the center, the group all took out their magic weapons and rushed towards Mingyu and the demon soldiers beside him. Xiao Daoyuan, today is the first battle in the human world. I will use you to show my power. Chapter 683. Mingyu and his 36 guards surrounded Xiao Daoyuan and the others. Xiao Daoyuan, who had been through hundreds of battles, was fearless. Liao, who had been on the brink of death, was also quite calm. He was even calmer than the golden elixir realm masters of Wudong and Mount Shu. However, Jia Yuan and Wang Sheng's palms were sweating. Yao, I'll help you make an opening. You take Yuan and Sheng and leave. Tell Shui Yunzi and the others about the situation here. Remember, don't look back. This battle is more dangerous than you think. Don't say anything. Remember, you can't die. Hold on until Wu Pai comes back. After finishing his words, Xiao Daoyuan, who was facing Mingyu, suddenly turned around and crashed into one of Mingyu's guards. Then, Xiao Daoyuan grabbed Jia Yuan and Wang Sheng and flew toward the gap. Master! Jia Yuan shouted at Xiao Daoyuan. Xiao Daoyuan smiled and nodded at him. Then he left with Li Yao with tears in his eyes. Elder Xiao, the three of them are gone. Let's fight with these guys without worry. Little Bad talked about the devil tribe a few days ago. Let's kill the devil tribe again. Fei Tianyang and Zhang Bujing laughed. The others nodded. A few months ago, Guo Pai went to Mount Shu and Wudong. Before he left, he said, the devil tribe is coming. Do your best. If you can't stop the first wave, the human world will be in a total disaster. After the golden elixir realm masters of Wudong and Mount Shu were seriously injured by Mingyu's guards, they were in a killing frenzy. The devil tribe had the advantage in numbers, while the Wudong and Mount Shu people had the advantage in magic weapons with Xiao Daoyuan. Xiao Daoyuan, under the rules of the human world, it's impossible for you to seal me. It's impossible for you to defeat us with your men. As Mingyu spoke, he threw a hammer at Xiao Daoyuan. Xiao Daoyuan did not dare be careless. He summoned a painting of mountains and rivers. Although he could not use the full power of the painting, he was able to block Mingyu's hammer. Mingyu's 36 guards and Mount Shu people fought for more than 2 hours. Now, only Zhang Bujing, Fei Tianyang, and Zhang Tianyang were left. There were still 10 guards left. Mingyu and Xiao Daoyuan were not far away. Xiao Daoyuan and the others were completely at a disadvantage. Li's group's 3 people had returned to Bugyaku. The rules of the human world. How strong was he? Under the rules of the human world. How strong was he? People of Bugyaku's people began to see this clean freak in's power. How strong was he really? Under the rules of the human world. World's people of people. Let's go back to the clinic. Tell me what happened. Shuianzi said softly. Jia Yuan told Shuianzi about Xiao Daoyuan and the others' encounter with Mingyu. Shuianzi nodded. On the global surveillance map of Bugyaku, there was smoke everywhere. The modern city couldn't withstand the destruction of the Devil Disciples. The local armed forces with modern weapons couldn't gain any advantage over the Devil soldiers. Places with martial arts schools were relatively better. Master led us to meet the Devil clan in the sky. The leader was called Mingyu. He seemed to be a general of the Devil clan. He had about 1 million Devil soldiers with him. Even the weakest of them had reached the fasting stage. Master and the seniors from Wudong and Mount Shu stopped Mingyu. "We took the opportunity to escape," Jia Yuan said softly. "It's just as Little Rascal said." This time, not only were the 5 sons of the Demon Sovereign released, all the demon generals from back then were also released. Our guess that day was right. The Demon Sovereign should have undone the seal on the eternal demon insect queen. This time, the human world is really in trouble. Shui Yunzi said softly. "Where was Guopai now?" No one in Bugyaku asked, but they all had the same question in their hearts. At the beginning of the disaster, Hua Xia No. 1 Kai Tianyang had already called Bugyaku. It was as if the world was being invaded by aliens. Now, the whole of Huaxia was in a state of panic. This is a worldwide disaster. If they invade Huaxia, don't let the army resist. The martial arts schools will do their best to resist. Do what you can, Yu said softly to Kai Tianyang. Kai Tianyang then issued an order to the military region. Except for the violent dragon group, all the troops were to be on alert in the military region. The military region was open to the public. Abandon the city. After the order was issued, all the martial arts schools in Huaxia were filled with people. The dugouts in the military region were also packed with people. Even so, there were still many people who couldn't find a place to hide. However, the whole of Huaxia was deserted. In 3 days, the devil race swept through the whole world with an unstoppable force. Other than the martial arts schools and some special forces in the human world was really in chaos. Who are they? Why are they doing this to us? People all over the world asked this question, but no one got an answer. Kai Tianyang and the top leaders of Huaxia had all moved to the Gu clan. Many places in Huaxia had already fallen. 100 million devil soldiers against more than 50 million Wuxiu. Wuxiu didn't have any advantage at all. Yu Tian led the Xian beasts and didn't participate in the battle. Yu Tian was waiting for Guopai to return. Without the battle of commanders, Yu Tian wouldn't make a move even if the entire human race died. At this time, Guopai naturally didn't know the situation outside. He had been trapped in Chung Tian Purgatory, the last layer of the 9 heavens purgatory, for 7 whole days. Guopai had completely fallen into despair as to how to break the 9 great arrays of Chung Tian Purgatory at the same time and rescue the people inside. I know who I am, so it's all because of me. But how can I save the 9 great divine kings and break through Chung Tian Purgatory? Guopai couldn't help but shake his head. Lord Divine King, you've stayed in Chung Tian Purgatory for too long. The outside world is already in chaos. Kill us, and you can still break through Chung Tian Purgatory. Do it. Otherwise, the human realm will fall, and all the karma will be blamed on the Divine King. A sealed expert said loudly, "You followed me for 17 generations and never gave up on me. How can I give up on you this time? Even if I come out of Chung Tian Purgatory alone, the Devil Sovereign and a group of devil generals outside will still lose without you." Guopai shook his head and said, "The human realm is in chaos." The Lingxiao Palace was dead silent. No one said anything. Jade Emperor only said these 4 words after a long time. Who is willing to go to the lower realm to solve this matter? Jade Emperor's second sentence made all the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals droop their heads. No matter how stupid they were, they could already tell what happened in the human realm. The 5 devils had gathered, and the world was in chaos. In such a situation, under the rules of the human realm, whoever went would die. Disperse. Take care of your own dojo. If the devil race invades, resist with all your might. Jade Emperor turned and walked out of the Lingxiao Palace. Why didn't mind reading sage appear? Where'd he go? Many people suddenly thought of mind-reading sage who was banished to the lower realm 10 days ago. Wasn't he living a good life in the human realm? Why didn't he deal with the devil race now? Chapter 684. No one from the heavenly court was willing to come to the human realm to resolve this calamity. The heavenly court had completely given up on the human realm. The Tao sites of the heavenly court immortals in the human realm were either destroyed or occupied by the demons. This calamity was heading in the worst possible direction. Shui Yunzi. There are at least 10 million demonic soldiers in the sky above the imperial capital. The lustful demons, dream demons, and blood demons are all there. There are also several demon generals on top. What do we do now? After Shui Yunzi set up layers upon layers of formations outside the clinic, he left only the dragon clan outside. Everyone else returned to the formation. Ao Feng saw more and more experts in the sky, so he couldn't help but fly into the formation and say to Shui Yunzi, "Let's go. If Guopai doesn't come back tonight, we'll be in real trouble." Shui Yunzi shook his head. Some small countries in the world had already fallen. Some remote places in large countries, including Huaxia, were also under the demon's control. The entire human realm was in danger. Guopai woke up from his meditation in Chung Heaven Purgatory. His golden core quickly rotated in his dantian before taking human form. Guopai directly entered the nascent soul realm. His nascent soul left his body and entered the out-of-body stage. His true body split his consciousness and entered the severed spirit stage. The split consciousness perfectly fused with his nascent soul, causing the entire Chung Heaven Purgatory to tremble. God King, withdraw your nascent soul and don't break through again. Although Chung Heaven Purgatory isn't the outside world, it will still send down a purgatory tribulation. With your current state, I'm afraid you won't be able to resist the purgatory tribulation. At that time, you won't be able to save us. I'm afraid you'll be annihilated. A sealed expert roared. Without a God King, what kind of God King am I? When I was meditating, I divined that the heavenly realm had already given up on the human realm. I hope I can break the seal of Chung Heaven Purgatory and release you all. At that time, the human realm will depend on you. In my previous life, you were sealed because of me. In this life, I'll help you break the seal, and this karma will come to an end. With that, Guopai no longer cared about what the 9 God Kings had to say, and his aura rose. Just as everyone was waiting for the Chung Heaven Purgatory Tribulation to descend, the 9 sealing formations were released. The 9 God Kings appeared in front of Guopai. Guopai said softly, "Let's go. The demon race is almost done tormenting the outside world. It's time for us to go out." With that, Guopai left Chung Heaven Purgatory with the 9 God Kings. Lord Yuan Sage, thank you so much for this. Guopai and the others returned to Jiutian Mansion and thanked the Yuan Sage of the 9 Heavens with a smile. Haha, little you already know your identity, and you can still call me Lord. Haha, it seems like it's hard to say who will win this battle. I gave Randang the magic treasure of Jiutian Purgatory. You can have these things. With that, he threw a dark green gourd to Guopai. Guopai kept the gourd, and the 10 of them left Jiutian Mansion. Father, Guopai has brought the 9 God Kings out of Jiutian Mansion. What should we do now? Medicine Demon, who had been monitoring outside Jiutian Mansion according to Ronding's instructions, whispered to Randang when he saw Guopai and the others coming out of Jiutian Mansion. It would be boring if we took over the mortal realm like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. It's more fun now. Randang smiled and said, "Everything will go according to plan. I want to see what Guopai can do now that he's back. Do you think he can make a comeback?" Haha, actually, I should have guessed your identity long ago. The 40 million Xian beasts of the beast race are at the Divine Emperor's disposal. Guopai appeared on the isolated island in the East Sea with the God Kings. Yutian looked at Guopai and the 9 God Kings and said with a smile, Yutian, bring the beast race back to the imperial capital first. I'll start from the imperial capital and push the demon race back bit by bit. After Guopao finished speaking, He flew up on his sword. Behind him were the 9 divine kings. Behind him, Utian led the 40 million Xian beasts and flew towards the imperial capital. Everywhere they passed, they killed all the devil race soldiers except for the devil generals who fled. Not a single one was spared. Prepare for war. An extremely terrifying force is coming from the west. We can't keep Bugyaku under control. Shui Yunzi was the first to sense the situation in the East Sea. He didn't know that the person who came was Guopai, so he directly ordered everyone in Bugyaku, "Don't worry, Lord Shui. Guopai is back." Not long after Shui Yunzi gave the order, Yu flew into the air with a smile and said loudly to Shui Yunzi, "Ha! That stinking brat finally showed up." Shui Yunzi took a deep breath and said with a smile. About a minute later, Guopai appeared in front of Shui Yunzi and the others. Seeing Guopai and the 9 god kings behind him, Wu Gang stared blankly for a moment before bursting into laughter. The others didn't know what was going on. Wasn't it just Guopai coming back? There was no need to laugh so happily. "Little Bad, should I keep calling you Little Bad or Lord God King?" "Ha, you're back. It's good that you're back. Now that things are a bit tricky, I'll leave this mess to you." Shui Yunzi laughed. "Lord Shui, what God King? If I call you Lord Shui, Guopai's body will keep calling me Lord Shui." "Ha! I wonder if Lord Shui dares to lead the troops into the void with me and play with the demon sovereign's sons?" Guopai said with a smile. "I've been the Lord of Water for 9 lifetimes. It's my honor to be able to fight alongside the God King in this life. Let's go up and play with the demon sovereign." After saying that, Guopai led the 9 god kings and Shui Yunzi, as well as the 100,000 Wu Xiao from the martial dojos of Wu Castle, the imperial capital, and the other cities. They soared into the sky and faced the 10 million demon soldiers led by the lustful demon, dream demon, and blood demon. "Guopai, you finally dare to show up. Do you think you can turn the tables just because you found the 9 god kings? 100,000 Wu Xiao. You can't be so naive as to think that 100,000 Wu Xiao can deal with our 10 million demon soldiers, right?" Dream Demon looked at Guopai and said loudly, "Little Dream, go and call your old man over. You guys are no match for me." Guo said to Dream Devil with a wicked smile. "Dipankara, it's not your style to hide in the dark. Impudent. A mere banished Immortal dares to speak so arrogantly? Let's see if you'll still be so imposing after I capture you." Dream Demon roared, "Demon soldiers, listen to my orders. Apart from Guopao, kill everyone else. I want them alive. A mere demon sovereign's son dares to speak to the God King like this? You're only 10 million demon soldiers. The God King doesn't need to do anything. We could take you down." With that, the God King rushed towards the demon army. "What? Guopai is the God King? How is that possible?" Dream Demon was stunned and roared in disbelief. "Yu Qian, leave 5 million Xian beasts to guard the imperial capital. Send the other Xian beasts to the other martial dojos of the world. Cooperate with the local Wu Xiao and fight back with all your might." Guopao roared in the direction of Bubu Medical Hall. After a short while, the people of Devil Clan clearly saw the situation of Bubu Medical Hall. Then, they were shocked by the terrifying strength of various kinds of Xian beasts who were in the fasting period. Chapter 685. With the addition of the Xian beasts, Wu Xiao, who was originally in despair, seemed to have seen hope again. Under the training of the humans and the beast race, many places launched a counterattack against the devil race. In the sky above the imperial capital, under the leadership of Guopai, 5 million Xian beasts, and 100,000 Wu Xiao, they directly forced the devil race's 3 sons and 10 million devil soldiers out of the sky above the imperial capital. Guopai brat, don't be complacent. Everything has just begun. Under the siege of 9 god kings, the 3 great devils finally gave up on the 10 million devil soldiers and escaped. Guopai did not continue to chase after them. The most important thing now was to find a countermeasure to deal with the devil race's army in the future. "Big brother bad guy, you finally came back. If you came back any later, I could only bring big sister Lin Shuang and the rest to hide in Limitless Palace. Yu saw that Guo Pai had returned and said with a chuckle, "After going out for so long, it seems like your harvest is not small. You even called for reinforcements. Let's go. Follow me into Limitless Palace. I have something to tell you." Guo Pai said. He did not care about the others and directly pulled Yu into Limitless Palace. "Big brother bad guy, why did you call me into Limitless Palace in such a hurry?" Yu asked with a trace of confusion. "I know my identity. The calamity in the human world this time was all because of me. My wife you and Lily hid it from me so deeply. Don't you think you deserve to be beaten?" Guo Pai said with a smile. His hands began to be dishonest. "You better be honest. What kind of situation is it now? You actually dare to have lecherous thoughts." Yu stretched out her hand and slapped away Guo Pai's lecherous hands and said loudly, "That's not right. You just said little E. Who is little E? My lord wife, you don't know who I am? That's impossible. Little E asked you to find me in the lower realm. She should have told you my identity." Guo Pai looked at Yu in disbelief. "What do you mean? Xiao E, are you saying that elder sister knew you in the past? What's going on? Hurry up and tell me." Yu seemed to have guessed something and said loudly, "Yes, your sister hid it from me well." Guo Pai said with a smile, "First wife, do you know who I am?" "Ha, I didn't think that I would have such a great background. I've already gone through 17 reincarnations. This is the 18th. Ha, I'm a divine emperor who has yet to ascend to the heavenly realm." "What? Bad guy, bro. You said you're a divine emperor? How is this possible? I've heard from my sister that the divine emperor lives in a place outside the 33 heavens. How could it be you? You perverted bastard." Yu pursed her lips. Although she said that, when she thought about the 9 experts outside, whose realm she couldn't see through, Yu believed Guo Pai's words. "I also can't believe it, but it's true. Yu, my wife, Xiao Yi was my wife in my previous life. I chose to enter the reincarnation, but she stopped. In the blink of an eye, more than 100,000 years have passed." Guo Pai couldn't help but shake his head and said, "Then what's the relationship between you and me in my previous life? Why did my sister ask me to go to the mortal world to find you?" Yu asked in a puzzled manner. "Also, what's going on with the devil race? If you're a divine emperor, how could you allow the devil race to run amok? In my previous life, you were Xiao Yi's personal maidservant, and Xiao Yi was my wife. So, you were naturally my bed-warming maidservant," Guo Pai said with a smile. However, looking at the knife in Yu's hand, Guo Pai no longer called her a bed-warming maidservant. Guo Pai also remembered that knife. In the past, he had lost a bet with Hong Jun and entered the reincarnation before Hong Jun. That knife belonged to Hong Jun ancestor. "Get to the point. What's the relationship between you and the great devil?" Yu asked with her eyes wide open. "In my previous life, before the great devil died, he occupied the body of Dipankara Buddha. It was said that Dipankara Buddha had died, but in fact he had always been in the human world. This time, the great devil used Dipankara Buddha's body to fight with me. I'm doomed." Guo Pai shook his head and said, "I didn't expect this matter to be so complicated. But it's all your fault. You didn't live a good life. Why did you enter the reincarnation? Now, there's so many things happening." Yu pouted and said, "Everything has a cause and effect. The catastrophe in the human world this time has nothing to do with me, Guo Pai." Guo Pai hugged Yu and said with a smile, just as he was about to do something inappropriate for children, the seal outside Wu Ji Palace was broken. A few girls had already broken the array and entered. "Big bad guy, you didn't even tell us that you came back. It seems that the first wife is still the most popular." A few girls saw that Yu was still hugging Guo Pai in her arms and teased. Although everyone kept calling Yu the first wife, Yu's little face still blushed. "Bad guy, brother. Uncle Shui and Uncle Ao are looking for you outside. They said that they're discussing how to deal with the great devil race." Muron Weiwei whispered. Guo Pai nodded. Seeing that Xiao Meng and Bu Yu were not around, he directly touched a few girls in Wu Ji Palace, making a group of girls blushing. Only then did he walk out of Wu Ji Palace with satisfaction. Ha ha, little bad brother. Do you think I should continue to call you that, or Sir Divine Emperor? We still have to trouble Sir Divine Emperor to undo the seal on our dragon race, Ao Feng said with a smile. Shui Yunzi nodded at the side, while the other experts of the human race widened their eyes. Just now, they vaguely heard the two words Divine Emperor. They didn't expect that the Divine Emperor they were talking about was actually Guo Pai. Ladies and gentlemen, we have known each other for so long. Just call me whatever you used to call me. Since everyone has encountered the catastrophe in the human world, it is everyone's opportunity and also everyone's calamity. Whether or not we can survive this catastrophe, I am not sure. Guo Pai said with a smile, I know what to do about the dragon race and the few of you. When this catastrophe is over, I will settle it for everyone. Ha, little bad brother, I thank you on behalf of the dragon race, Ao Feng said with a smile. Ao Feng smiled and said, as for how to deal with this disaster, tell us your thoughts. We will listen to your arrangements. I think everyone knows the current situation better than I do. The Great Devil race has the advantage in numbers, but with Yu Qian and the Beast race joining in, we are not at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Guo Pai said with a smile, what we need to do now is to gather all the Wu Xiu brothers together. The Great Devil race wants to rule the human world. They will not just want a barren land. They will not put the battlefield in the human world. This is just the beginning. The real war is still to come. After Guo Pai finished speaking, everyone nodded. Except for the massacre at the beginning, the Great Devil race was basically occupying territory and enslaving the human world. They did not start a massacre. Compared to the Great Devil race, we are at a disadvantage. Our strength is mixed, unlike the Great Devil race, whose Great Devil soldiers are all at the peak of the fasting period and may even break through at any time. We must seize the opportunity now and try our best to suppress the development of the Great Devil race before they break through. Guo Pai stood up and said again, I will find a way to go to a desperate place and find the alchemy furnace in the human world. By then, I will be able to improve the strength of all the Wuxiu brothers of the human race. Guo Pai's words made everyone's eyes light up. If Guo Pai could provide them with elixirs again, it would be much easier to get through this catastrophe. While I'm looking for the alchemy furnace, I'll leave the matters of the human world to everyone else. Try your best to gather the martial cultivators and set up a camp in the void. The battlefield of this battle will be in the sky. Chapter 686. Guo Pai left the 9 godly kings in the human world. Yuer wanted to leave with Guo Pai, but Guo Pai rejected her. In his past life, he had a medicine cauldron called the Godly Emperor Cauldron. It was placed in a desperate situation. When Guo Pai found out about his identity, everything was clear. I hope the demon race will stop for the next few days and let me find the Godly Emperor Cauldron. Then, we can take our time. Guo Pai left Bugyaku alone and flew to the North Pole. Interesting. This is interesting. The Godly Emperor left alone. If I'm not wrong, he must have gone to find the item he left in the human world. Dipankara Buddha was holding a string of prayer beads. He was alone in a secluded place in the void as he spoke with a smile. Dream, how is it? The power of the humans was not bad, right? Dipankara asked with a smile as he saw Dream Demon and the others return to the camp. Originally, it was just the humans who were easier to deal with. I didn't expect there to be so many Xian beasts. I didn't expect this mind-reading true monarch to have found so many helpers. Dream Demon gritted his teeth and said fiercely, mind-reading sage does not have that much influence. He is the only one in the human world who can persuade the Beast King. Dipankara did not mind that his son was being bullied. He laughed as he spoke. Father, who is this mind-reading sage? He only stayed in the Ninth Sky Mansion for a month. How did his power increase so much? Under the rules of the human world, even if the 4 of us worked together, we might not be able to defeat him. Lustful Demon said softly. In a battle back then, you were sealed by the humans, and I fought against the gods. According to the power I had back then, those guys could not have been my match. Why did I enter Dipankara's body? It was because I had nowhere to go. It was this man who forced me to give up. He is this life's mind-reading sage, the godly emperor of the past. Dipankara Buddha said with a smile. When Dipankara's voice faded, the 5 demon lords in the room all opened their eyes wide, especially medicine demon Suyu. Back then, he was saved by Bright Moon Buddha. He felt something was wrong. It was all his father's plan. Bright Moon was Dipankara's disciple. His master asked him to save someone, so he did not refuse. You don't have to hold any grudges. Mingyue was fated to be with you in her previous life. You two should be together in this life. So what if you're a Buddha, a devil, or a god? People call us devils, but I think they're devils. Whether they are gods or devils, only the final winner has the final say, Dipankara said with a smile. All of you stay in the camp. Don't let the humans outside feel too comfortable. But don't fight them head-on like before. Just harass them appropriately. I'm going to see what the Divine Emperor is doing. 7 days at most. After 7 days, prepare for an all-out war with them. Dream and the others cannot deal with those Xian beasts. You go and help them. Don't go overboard. The show has just begun. After Dipankara finished speaking, he disappeared in front of them. How could I forget about Sister Flower? With Sister Flower's help, it will be much easier to deal with those Xian beasts, Dream Demon said with a smile. Dream Devil said with a smile. The others nodded in agreement. They had just suffered a loss, and now they wanted to get back at Yifutian. Blood Devil and the others discussed for a while. Apart from Medicine Devil, the 4 great devils once again appeared in front of the human race's camp with 1 million devil soldiers each. What was different from last time was that the 4 great devils had a beautiful woman by their side. Uncle Shui, why do you look like that? Isn't it just one more woman? Jia Yuan said with a smile. Guopai's return boosted their confidence. In their eyes, there was nothing that Guopai could not handle. Little Yuan, if a fight breaks out later, you, Little Yao, and Little Sheng stay in the formation. If you're captured by those great devils, I can still save you. If that woman takes you away, you'll be in big trouble, Shui Yunzi said softly. Jia Yuan looked at the otherworldly woman in the void again. She turned her head and looked at Jia Yuan. Jia Yuan felt his mind go blank, and he almost fainted. Ao Feng, come with me to meet the great demons. After Shui Yunzi finished speaking, he led 1 million Wuxiu and 1 million Xian beasts to meet them. Sister Flower, that Shui Yunzi is the ancestor of the water immortal. We had a conflict with him in the past. Before he was sealed, he was extremely powerful. Now, under the rules of the human world, he is not someone to be trifled with. Leave him to Sister Flower. Lustful Demon said with a smile. I won't help you kill him. I can't kill him either. I will help you trap that Shui Yunzi for 1 incense stick's worth of time. I don't care how you fight in the end. Emohua said softly and took a step forward. Fairy, you don't seem to be a great demon. Why do you want to get involved in this mess? Shui Yunzi felt his eyelids twitching and couldn't help but ask. Mr. Shui is not a human. Why do you want to get involved in this mess? Emohua stepped into the void towards Shui Yunzi. Shui Yunzi didn't dare to be careless. He raised his hand and set up a formation around himself before moving forward. Seeing that Emohua and Shui Yunzi had already started fighting, the blood demon roared and led his army towards the human camp. Ho Shui, I remember that you killed many of my dragon race's disciples back then. Don't even think about leaving today. Ao Feng led 100,000 Wuxiu and 300,000 Xian beasts forward. 400,000 against 1 million. They weren't at a disadvantage at all. The blood demon also started fighting with Ao Feng. 5 sons of the demon sovereign, who dares to fight me one-on-one. Li Shixin flew up and shouted at Lust Boy, Dream Demon, and Poison Demon. 4th brother, you go deal with this Li Shixin. Don't be careless. This guy and Xiao Daoyuan were able to escape from the encirclement of 10 great demon generals. They're definitely not ordinary people. Dream Demon whispered to Lust Boy. Lust Boy nodded and went forward. 3rd brother, there's no need to be polite with these guys. I haven't seen you use poison in a while. I'll cover for you. You go teach them a lesson." After saying that, Dream Demon's figure flashed and appeared in the human camp. Chi Yun and Li Feng immediately faced off against Dream Demon. Poison Demon appeared on the other side of the human camp. Li Yao, Jia Yuan, and Wang Sheng surrounded Poison Demon. Their faces then turned gloomy. "Big brother, it's done. Let's go." Poison Demon didn't give the three of them a chance to attack. He shouted at Dream Demon, and the two of them returned to their camp. Li Yao and the other two looked at the Wuxiu behind them, who had just entered the fasting period. Their faces darkened, and they immediately understood what had happened. "Sister Hua, don't bother with that old guy. Let's retreat," Dream Demon said to Mo Hua with a smile. Mo Hua directly broke through Shui Yunzi's formation. Although she couldn't do anything to Shui Yunzi, it was easy for her to get rid of him. "Poison Demon, not bad. Since you used poison, I'll add fuel to the fire." After saying that, Mo Hua waved her jade-like hand, and a black swarm of demon insects rushed towards the human camp. "Not good. Activate the formation. Be careful," Shui Yunzi roared. When he saw the demon insects, he knew who he had just fought. Aside from the eternal demon insect queen, who else could have such strength? "Uncle Shui, the formation can't stop these hateful insects. What should we do?" The human camp activated the formation, but the demon insects used the simplest method to break it. The demon insects swallowed the formation, and the human camp began to fall into chaos. Chapter 687. Seeing the black swarm of insects rushing towards the human camp, the people outside the formation didn't dare to be careless. Although these insects were only in the enlightened stage, there were too many of them. The formation outside the camp was slowly being devoured by the insects. Although the killing formation killed countless insects, there seemed to be no end to them. They continued to attack the formation without regard for their lives. Jia Yuan saw that the fasting stage Wuxiu's expression was changing more and more. He couldn't help but say to Shui Yunzi, "Uncle Shui, someone is poisoned. Isolate the poison first and wait for Guopai to come back. Everyone else retreat into the formation. I'll rearrange the formation." Shui Yunzi roared. His golden core turned into a nascent soul. Then the nascent soul left his body. Thunder came from the horizon, but Shui Yunzi didn't show any fear. His strength rose again, directly entering the severed spirit stage. Little bad, this old man's water immortal true body sealing formation can block these ancient insects, but it can only last for 3 days. If you don't come back in 3 days, I really can't protect the human camp, Shui Yunzi said softly. In the original protective formation, a thin layer of mist appeared. The eternal demon insects tried to devour the formation, but they were blocked by the mist. "No need to look. This water immortal ancestor has some means. He can withstand the power of the rules of the human world and set up such a formation. The eternal demon insects can't break it. The human camp has been poisoned. Even without the eternal demon insects, it's enough for them. Let's go back first." After Mo Hua finished speaking, she walked straight towards the Devil Clan's camp. The 4 devil heirs smiled and nodded before following behind Mo Hua. Seeing the demons leave, Ao Feng and the others breathed a sigh of relief and directly entered the formation. But when they returned to the human camp, the situation in front of them made their faces turn gloomy. "Liao, Jia Yuan, you two stay by old man Shui's side. Don't let anyone touch him," Ao Feng said softly. Shui Yunzi released his nascent soul and merged his consciousness into the formation. His body naturally couldn't withstand the torment. Following that, Ao Feng gathered a group of human experts. Poison Demon had only appeared once, but close to 1 million Wuxiu had already been poisoned. With Guopai gone, who would deal with the poison in front of them had become a huge problem. Let the kids in Bigyako try. They've been with Guopai for so long, so they might have some ideas. In terms of pharmacology, those kids are better than me. If I need other methods, I'll come to you, Qin Fengyu said softly. Everyone nodded. After that, The whole of Bugyaka became busy. You also came out from the limitless palace. Using the medicine of the human world to cure the poison of the human world was understandable. Some work could only be done by the students of Bugyaku. Emperor Jia, the medicine didn't work. Try again. You, or said softly to Chinjiadi. Chinjiadi nodded. Chinkuan, what are you doing? Put that thing down. You are watched as Chao Chinkuan inserted a few silver needles into a Wuxio's body. Then, he inserted the silver needles into his own body. Big sister, if we want to find a way to cure this poison in a short time, we have to have someone test the poison himself. Only then can we hope to find a way to cure the poison. Chao Chinkuan said softly. No, you can't. They are Wuxios. That's why they are still alive. If you can't find the antidote in 3 days and Guopai doesn't come back, you will definitely die. You are said softly. Big sister, didn't Li Shirshin say that just now? If Big Brother can't come back in 3 days, Big Brother Shui's formation won't be able to stop those guys outside. At that time, we will all be in danger. Since that's the case, I will test the poison myself. If Big Brother can find the antidote in 3 days, everyone will be saved. At the very least, we can stop those people outside. After Chao Chinkuan finished speaking, he inserted the silver needles into his own arm. After a moment, Chao Chinkuan's face turned black. It was a frightening black. Realgar, croton, musk, blue juice, big and small bean juice, bamboo juice, cow juice, blood of 6 animals, 2 scraps, root scraps, earthworm scraps, lotus root, water chestnut juice. Xiao, quickly go and prepare. Chao Chinkuan said loudly. Xiao didn't dare to delay. He and Mo and the other girls also went to prepare. After about 10 minutes, Chao Chinkuan had already fallen into a coma. However, there were 7 or 8 prescriptions written on a piece of paper. Follow these prescriptions and give the medicine to Chinkuan. If Chinkuan can't hold on, I will continue to test the poison myself until I find the antidote. Shinjeti said loudly. The girls cried at the same time. Guopai will be proud of you. Give one of these elixirs to each of them. According to the prescriptions left by Su Tu, give the medicine to those Wuxios. Don't worry about the toxicity of the medicine. Fighting poison with poison should be able to cure the poison in their bodies. Yu said softly as she looked at the prescriptions left by Su Tu's day. Although there was some improvement after taking the medicine, Su Tu was about to die because his body couldn't hold on any longer. The students of Bugyaku used a method similar to moths flying into a flame. After testing the poison on 7 people, they found a way to temporarily control the poison in Wuxio's body. The group of Wuxio who had more or less recovered their consciousness after taking the medicine looked at the group of Bugyaka doctors who had collapsed on the ground. Their gratitude was beyond words. If Guopai doesn't come back today, we have to be prepared to fight to the death with the demons. Yura looked at the starry sky and said softly, if Shui Yunzi's formation disappears, don't panic. If the demons want to kill the Wuxio of the human race, they'll have to get through us first. One of the 9 divine kings stood up and said softly, Brother, we don't like what you're saying. Since it's a matter of the human race, even if we die, we'll drag a few demons down with us. A human rogue cultivator said loudly. Many people around him nodded in agreement. Poison Devil's poison had been dealt with. Looking at the group of Bugyaka doctors, even ordinary people weren't afraid. So what were they afraid of? At this moment, Wuxio's morale was soaring. Divine Emperor Cauldron, we haven't seen each other for more than 100,000 years. Come with me. Guopai tore open a space, and a golden cauldron more than 1 meter tall appeared in front of Guopai. The cauldron turned into a human form. A burly man nearly 2 meters tall looked at Guopai and said with a smile, Sir Godly King, you're finally here. Umipa. I didn't expect the godly Emperor Cauldron to be hidden so deeply. No wonder I couldn't find it after searching so many places. Guopai had just come out with the godly Emperor Cauldron when Dipankara appeared in front of the 2. Demon Lord, are you afraid after seeing me find the godly Emperor Cauldron? Guopai narrowed his eyes at Dipankara and said, Demon Lord, Are you going to leave the two of us behind in this spatial turbulence? Haha, of course I am. However, I know my limits. I can't leave you behind, but it shouldn't be difficult for me to leave the godly Emperor Cauldron behind Guapai. Dipankara's gaze landed on the burly man behind Guapai. Ha! Demon Lord, you lost again. Haven't you thought that you appeared because you have a guilty conscience? You already know in your heart that you can't win this time, right? Guapai looked at Dipankara and said, I'm not going to argue with you. Godly Emperor Cauldron, stay here obediently. If the godly king can beat me this time, he will naturally come to save you. After Dipankara finished speaking, a powerful aura enveloped Guapai and the godly Emperor Cauldron. Following that, the burly man in human form disappeared. Godly Emperor Cauldron, don't worry. I will definitely come to save you within 10,000 years. Guapai said ruthlessly. His figure flashed as he came out of the void. The godly Emperor Cauldron's plan had failed. Chapter 688. The plan of the godly Emperor Cauldron had been destroyed. After Guapai came out of the void, he quickly rushed to Bugyaku. Burning Lamp followed Guapai and flew toward the capital. Coming out of the ninth heaven purgatory, under the rules of the human world, Guapai was not afraid of Burning Lamp in a one-on-one fight. Burning Lamp smiled at Guapai and said, Haha, godly king, why are you flying so fast? Let's have a good chat. The demon race has reappeared. We may not have to fight to solve the problem. Why don't we work together and take down heaven? Then we can share heaven and go up to the 33 levels of heaven. Isn't that good? Guapai squinted his eyes and said, Ancient Buddha Burning Lamp, you can use your current identity to go up to the 33 levels of heaven. However, you broke the array of the demon race and released them. Do you think I will believe you if you say you want to work together now? If you don't want to fight, then don't block my way. Get out of my way. After saying that, Guapai's speed increased. Burning Lamp smiled and nodded. It was definitely not a wise choice to deal with Guapai now. They didn't follow me. I don't know what the demon race is doing. I'm afraid something happened in the capital. Guapai thought about it and increased his speed. After a few minutes, Guapai arrived at the East Sea. He was only a few minutes away from the capital. My godly king, why are you in such a hurry? Guapai wanted to speed up and leave, but 8 black-clothed men surrounded Guapai. Guapai squinted his eyes. How would he not know these 8 people? They were the 8 demon generals by the Demon King's side, including the 9 most difficult people to deal with in the Ming-Su demon race. 8 of them had come at once. Their purpose was clear, to deal with godly King Guapai. The Demon King hasn't made a move. Do you want to stop me? Guapai loudly said. He was already holding a throwing knife in his hand. To deal with the devil race, using the throwing knife in his hand was a good choice. Back then, 4 of us were sealed by the Divine King alone. It is time for us to settle the score. We are both under the rules of the human world. I think we should take advantage of him this time, Ming Yu said with a smile. Come on then, kill. Guapai roared. The flying dagger in his hand was already flying towards Ming Yu. Under the rules of the human world, Guapai knew that it would not be a good thing to be entangled with these 8 people. Haha, Your Excellency Shan Wang, you are much worse than you were 100,000 years ago. You actually chose to run away. Do you think you can escape? Even if we can't kill you this time, we will let you have a taste of being sealed. Ming Su, stop him. Ming Yu shouted. A powerful aura appeared in front of Guapai. Oh no, they still have a backup plan. Guapai wanted to dodge, but it was too late. He did not expect that the Demon King would let the 8 devil generals and a genius of the devil race set up such a sealing formation in just a few seconds after he left. Your Excellency Shan Wang, just stay in the formation. We don't need to trap you for too long. One day is enough for us to deal with Wu Xiao in the human world. Ha! After Ming Su finished speaking, the 8 devil generals disappeared in front of Guapai. Ming Su, as expected, of the most outstanding genius of the devil race. However, there seems to be something wrong with your head. This array formation is somewhat similar to the one that trapped the dragon race in the past. One day is too long. I will break your bullshit array formation right now. Guopao had more or less guessed what the demons wanted to do. With a loud roar, he threw the Yin-Yang twin life jade beside him as if it didn't cost anything. Then, he directly rushed out of the formation. Ming Su, who had just left, suddenly had an ugly look on his face. Damn it, how could he break my formation? His strength is the same as ours at the peak of the Gold Core realm. How could it be? Ming Su said loudly. The other 8 devil generals also looked gloomy. If the Shanhuang had such strength, this battle in the human world would not be easy. Let's go and find the Demon King. Ask him how strong the Shanhuang is. How could he break the formation so easily? After Ming Yu finished speaking, the 9 of them flew towards the devil race. He broke Asu's formation? Haha, it seems that his understanding of formations has improved a lot during the trip to the Dragon Burial Valley. Asu, you have miscalculated this time. But this is also good. Let him go back. You pass down the order. 3 days later, we will have a life and death battle with the martial cultivators of the human world. Dipankara Buddha said without any anger. Several demon generals nodded, and all left. Guopai flew from the East Sea to the sky of the imperial capital. He saw tens of thousands of ancient devil insects hovering above the imperial capital and immediately knew what had happened. True, Samadhi fire killed them. Guopao roared. The ancient devil insects were indeed formidable. However, the Samadhi true fire was the bane of the ancient devil insects. He didn't even need to use any killing arrays. Wherever the Samadhi true fire went, the ancient devil insects would be burned to death. Naturally, Shui Yunzi also sensed Guopao's aura. So, he immediately retracted his great array and a stream of water vapor surrounded the escaping ancient devil insects. Fire restrains water? However, when the essence of water met the true Samadhi fire, the true Samadhi fire was stronger. Mo Hua, who was thousands of miles away, frowned. Although these ancient devil insects were nothing to her, each of them had her consciousness. Naturally, she felt uncomfortable. Under the rules of the human world, to be able to erupt with such a trial, a God King is indeed a God King. Although this has caused a lot of trouble for the human race, it hasn't shaken the foundation of the human race. The war in 3 days will be somewhat troublesome. Mo Hua said softly. The devil princes nodded. If we knew this guy was a God King, we would have killed him together with our clones back then. There wouldn't be such a big trouble. Dream Demon shook his head. But thinking about it, it was definitely not easy to kill Guopai back then. The ancient devil insects above the imperial capital were all dealt with. Shui Yunzi's nascent soul returned to his body. The heavenly thunder in the sky that hadn't fallen for a long time slowly left. Shui Yunzi's body suddenly moved. Jia Yuan and Li Yao, who were looking at his body, knew that Shui Yunzi's soul had returned. The 2 of them followed Shui Yunzi and flew into the void. They saw Guopai in his Taoist robe, standing in the void, looking at the devil race's camp thousands of miles away. Fourth brother, you're finally back. Go back to Bagyaku and have a look. Emperor Jia and the others used their bodies to test the poison. If you don't treat them now, they'll be finished. Jia Yuan said softly. Guopai nodded and disappeared in front of them. Brother Yao, what do you think fourth brother's strength is now? Jia Yuan couldn't help but ask. Didn't you hear what the old men said? Our brother is not only a deity that was banished from the heavenly court, but he is also a God King. He is someone who can stand shoulder to shoulder with Hong Jun ancestor. No, he should be someone much more powerful than Hong Jun ancestor. Liao said softly. The 2 of them flew towards Bagyaku. Boss, dojo master, baddie, bad grandpa, bad daddy. Several different voices sounded in Guopai's ears. Guopai smiled and nodded at them. Xiao Xiao, put this pill in a water and make 18 small bowls. Call all the students in Bagyaku over. Guopai said softly. Xiao Xiao took the pill and quickly ran into the room. Then, a few girls appeared in front of Guopai with a person holding a few bowls. I've divined for all of you before. I knew that Emperor Jia and the others would have a tribulation in their lives. I didn't expect it to happen here. Guopai said softly. Chapter 689. These 18 students had stayed in Bugyaku for nearly 7 years. Not even a trace of the naivety of their student days could be seen on their faces. Because of the plague incident in Huaxia, many people in Huaxia were already familiar with them. But this time, they used their bodies to test the poison. Millions of wuxiu of the imperial capital were once again acquainted with these doctors of Bugyaku. I'm proud of you. I, Guopai, am willing to accept you as my disciples. Whether it is in a mortal world or in the heavenly realm, you will be my disciples. Not only the disciples of Guopai of Bugyaku, but also the disciples of Shanhuang. Guopai said softly. His voice was not loud. A group of Bugyaku students trembled all over. At this time, they were not only recognized by Guopai, they were also recognized by the Shanhuang of this world. Although they did not know what the two words Shanhuang meant, but from the expression of the people around them, they could see that this was a sacred existence. Boss, after becoming the disciples of Shanhuang, can we still call you boss? Also, Hiemo and Yaoshi, after becoming your disciples, how can they become your wives? Jia Xiaoxiao said without thinking. Everyone burst into laughter. In my previous life, I married 108 wives, and among them were quite a few disciples. When you reach the heaven realm, there are some things that you will naturally understand. As for how to address me, you can call me whatever you want. Take the medicinal water just now. There are some things that you should know. After Guo Pao finished speaking, he led the 8 divine kings and the others into the house. Among the 18 students, several girls directly poured the medicinal pill into the stomach of several unconscious students. Then, several people's jet-black complexion instantly recovered its color. Boss, what kind of medicine did you give us? I feel that my whole body is now full of strength. It's so cool. Chunjiadi said loudly after waking up. Several others also nodded in succession. My God, that medicinal pill actually contained a trace of Shenhuang's blood essence. No wonder it could make you improve so much all of a sudden. Ao Feng opened his eyes wide and said, You are no longer mortals. In the future, whether you practice medicine or wuxiu, you must pay attention to some things. Xiaohe, Mo, little Yaoshi, you too should be wuxiu before them. Tell them some things they should pay attention to. After Ao Feng finished speaking, Lu Yaoshi, Hiemo, and more than a dozen people called Chunjiadi and returned to Bugyaku. All the students knew their current situation and what kind of existence Guopai was Shenhuang. Their boss was Shenhuang. Brother Yao, tell me about the current situation of wuxiu in the human world. Guopai and the 8 Shenhuang came out and gathered the people again. Then he asked Li Yao softly. These days, wuxiu in the human world and the devil race have been fighting on a small scale nonstop. In the human world, wuxiu has lost more than 3 million people. The casualties of the devil race are unknown. Recently, because Mr. Yutian and his Xian beasts joined the fight, our casualties have been reduced a lot. Li Yao said softly, There will be a fierce battle in 3 days. I won't force anyone. Brother Yao, Brother Yuan, pass down the order. Those who don't want to fight in wuxiu can stay in their own station. However, if they show up in the battlefield tomorrow, I want them to fight with all their strength. Guopai said loudly. Li Yao and Jia Yuan nodded. They had already returned to the command room of the Gu clan. Mr. Yutian, Xian beasts are the same as humans. If anyone doesn't want to participate in this fierce battle, I won't force them, including you. Guopai looked at Yutian and said with a smile, Ha! Lord Shenhuang, your words make me feel like you are burning the bridge after crossing the river. In this battle with the devil race, I will lead the Xian beasts to the end. If I fall in the battle, I will let Harry Air take my place. If Harry Air falls, Fataba will take over. Even if Lord Shenhuang is not here, we will still fight the devil race to the end. Yuqian's voice was not loud. A group of human experts gave him a thumbs up. Mr. Yuqian, if we are lucky enough to win this battle, I will think of a way to rescue all the trapped beast kings of the 3 realms. This is my promise to Mr. Yutian. Guopai said with a smile. Although Yutian's expression did not change much, His beast blood was boiling in his heart. His father was trapped in the heaven realm. With the Shenhuang's promise, he would have a chance to see his father again. After arranging the things to pay attention to in the battle 3 days later, Guopai directly tore open a space and pulled Guopai and Dahui into it. Without the Shenhuang cauldron, refining medicine with other cauldrons was much slower. Guopai calculated that refining 5 million pills in 3 days was his limit. What's wrong, Mingsu? You have been sealed for more than 100,000 years. It's not shameful to be broken by the Shenhuang cauldron. Are you still thinking about it? Dipankara said to Ming Su with a smile. Lord Demon Venerable, this time I have seen the strength of the Shenhuang cauldron. I'm afraid the battle 3 days later will be a tough one, Ming Su said softly. Distribute these things to the disciples of the devil race. 3 days later, in the battle with the humans, go all out. Dipankara said with a smile. As soon as his voice fell, several great Buddhas stepped on the void and entered the camp of the devil race. Imperial Father, did you call all these people over? Ha! No wonder Imperial Father is so calm. With the help of the Buddhist sect, it will be much easier for us to deal with the humans this time. Dream Devil looked at the great Buddhas and said with a smile. Dipankara, in this battle, 10 million monks and 3 million Buddhas of our Buddhist sect will be at the disposal of the great Buddha. A great Buddha said with a smile. Ha! With your help, I will naturally not mistreat you after the battle is over, Dipankara said with a smile. The great Buddhas nodded and stood on both sides. After more than 100,000 years, Dipankara was able to persuade a few great Buddhas. He had already made full preparations for this battle. 3 days passed quickly in the human world. Guopai came out of the space once again. His face didn't show the slightest fatigue. Instead, it made people feel that his strength had improved. The row of exquisite gourds hanging on his waist made everyone smile. A total of 3 million dawn have been produced in 3 days. Distribute them as you see fit. The quality of the soldiers is not the quantity. I hope the 3 million dawn will be of some use. Guopai said softly. Several gourds were suspended in the air. Li Shixin, Qiu Daoyuan, and the others didn't snatch them. Each of them took one and then disappeared in front of everyone. A few minutes later, thunder rumbled in the sky above the camp of the human race. The 3 million dawn had created at least 1.5 million peak gold core experts. Some of them even directly formed their yuanying and then suppressed their strength. Sister Chang, where's your avatar going? Why are you in such a hurry? At the southern heavenly gate, a beautiful fairy was stopped by the Queen Mother and a handsome man. Since you know who I am, why are you still blocking my way? The beautiful fairy said. She directly turned into Chang, Yi's appearance, and looked at the Queen Mother with a smile. The heavenly realm has its own rules. It's fine if some small fights sneak down to the mortal world. Sister likes peace and quiet. Why do you want to go to the mortal world? Didn't you have enough of your days in the mortal world? The Queen Mother said with a smile. A shiny rope appeared in her hand. Queen Mother, you know very well what's happening in the human world. The heavenly court isn't going to send troops. I want to go down for a stroll. It's none of your business. Chang, Yi's avatar said loudly. In the past, I didn't care how you wanted to go down. But for the next few days, it's best for you to stay in your moon palace. The Queen Mother's aura suddenly increased. Good, very good. No wonder you dare to stop me. It turns out that you have also broken through. It seems that the Demon Venerable gave you a lot of benefits back then. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.